Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Wednesday, October 5th, 2022, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App, $ ORION NWSF, or the YouTube Super Chat right here. So I figured we'd do something a little different and a little special. Obviously, a lot of the last games of the Major League Baseball regular season ended today in the morning or early afternoon. I'm watching the replay right now of the Mariners and the Tigers. I got AEW Dynamite that's going to be popping up here in about 45 minutes here on the West Coast. So I figured, we usually do food in the last 30 minutes to maybe hour and a half. But I figured, let's just do a food stream. We can always pop up, different athletes or different wrestlers or anything else that comes up with the news feed and the sports headlines. But I thought we'd do something a little different and something fun since we usually do this anyways. So we're going to go in and get the best food picks on the internet, a live stream with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. So we'll get people in the room. We'll go over down a topic, breakfast. We'll go breakfast food. Maybe we'll do lunch, maybe burgers, pizza, pasta, sushi, chicken. I don't really know where we're going to go. I'll let the fans kind of decide where we go from here. And I want this to be a fully interactive stream, just something fun and different in light. Tomorrow, we're going to have Thursday night football, Colts versus the Broncos. Then we got playoff games, obviously Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as well as football, college and NFL. So this gives me kind of a time to do something a little different than we normally do. I mean, we usually do this at the end of the night for mental health and just to kind of wrap up the stream for the last 30 minutes to an hour and a half. But yeah, who's to say that we can't do a live stream with just food? I mean, if we touch on other things, if anyone else wants to see something, we can definitely go down that route. But I figured we'd do something fun and a little light, obviously, as we get into Thursday night football and sports in general. And everybody loves food, so this really applies to every single person on fucking planet Earth, and that's big facts. Zach is in the building. How are you? I promised you I would check up on you to make sure things were okay with you, and obviously I did, and you're here. I hope everything is going better for you today than it was yesterday. My brother, how are you? Sarah's in the building. How are you? Let's get to 100 and donos. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit better than what you felt yesterday, and hopefully we'll get some more people to trickle in. It's been a little light in the last couple days, but hopefully everyone is doing well. And like I said, if you don't like football, that's fine. If you don't like baseball, that's fine. If you don't like NASCAR, that's fine. I usually do everything: NFL, college football, NBA, college hoops, AEW, WWE, MLB, NBA, NASCAR. I mean, I'm going to be doing World Cup, but I get it. Some people only like, a certain thing or another thing. But like with me and Sarah, I mean, we pretty much are going to follow everything. So I figured we'd do something fun, and we can touch on anything on it could be chicken, it can be waffles, it can be pancakes, breakfast food, whatever it is. But I figure I do something just a little bit different just to kind of lighten the mood. But if we end up talking about sports athletes or wrestlers, I don't mind popping that up on the stream as well. So let's get it. So I got the Tigers up 3-2, top of the fifth. I already ended up watching this whole entire game that was on early in the afternoon. I was hoping that some of Major League Baseball games were going to be in the afternoon or the evening, but, it is what it is. So obviously I got AEW in 40 minutes, but until then, like I said, we can do some food and anything else that you guys want to discuss. This is pretty much a stream for the fans. It's all about you guys. You guys let me know what avenue you want me to go down, and then I will be able to, take care of you guys. So it's totally up to you. So let's get it. So let's go here, and we can start it off. Sarah, where do you want to go? Where do you want to start off the particular stream? I was, going to use a waffle picture. I had a nice chicken and waffle picture, but it didn't really fill up the whole screen, only about half of the screen. So I just wanted to pull up something. I was going to do like burnt ends, chicken, waffles, something of that nature. Use the waffles for the thumbnail pick. So you guys let me know where you want to go, and then we can end up going down that particular route. So I'm thinking we can start off with something breakfast-wise. That's usually kind of a nice way to start everything off. And then, once people get an idea of where they want to go after that, we definitely can. So we can start it off with the picture that I used for the thumbnail. And I wanted to make sure we put some food in the background as well. So we can start it off there. And like I said, this is a stream for the people, by the people. It's for you guys. Megan in the building, no problem. Hey, you got to go somewhere else, do you? Obviously, I know with Megan, being a vegan, vegetarian, obviously a lot of the food that I'm going to bring up might not be a good fit, but it's okay. Like I said, I'm going to be able to take care of the people. And Sarah with a $10 dono, let's go. All right, 90 to go. Let's get it. And like I said, everyone loves food, so this should really apply to everybody. $10 holla. Bang, 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 bang. I hope that you are feeling better. Cactus Jack approves. How was AEW Dynamite? I didn't go on Twitter for on purpose. I didn't want any spoilers or anything of that nature, but hopefully it ended up being at least an 8. I don't assume it's going to be like a 9 or a 10. Every once in a while we'll get that, but hopefully it was an 8, at the very least a 7. But we can go any particular route. All right, you want to go sushi? Okay, no problem there. We can definitely do that. So we started off with the waffles. Let me throw up just a couple pictures of the breakfast, and then we'll get into your sushi, and then we'll go wherever route that you want to go. All right. And I hope everyone had a fantastic day. Nothing too crazy. Woke up, took Paisley for a walk, exercised, did a lot of reading, and anything else that anyone wants to bring up, food or non-food topics, you're more than welcome to. I just figured we'd do something a little bit different just to kind of mix it up since we do kind of have an off day, at this point where there's nothing really live going on at this point. Normally there's baseball or wrestling, and I'm going to get the AEW replay here in just a moment. So let's see here. Where did I want to go? Maybe we'll shoot up with a little pancake photo. That's always good there. And then we can go down that particular path with the sushi. How are you feeling today? You feeling a little bit better? I hope that you're feeling better. I know you weren't feeling very good yesterday. So, all right. Where do I want to go? Okay, here it goes. I got stuff listed under like breakfast and stuff like that, so. Ooh, this looks good. Boom. I didn't even read your message, and I got you. There we go. We'll get into some food here. Just kind of the ones that I have here just on hand. Yeah, you can't go wrong with breakfast food as well. Ooh, man. And then hopefully we'll get some more people trickling in as they see that I'm live. And it's been a little light the last couple days, but hopefully we get some people out of their shell and come hang out and let me know what they like for food, so that way we can enjoy the photos together. Let's see here. And then one of my favorite photos here with the chicken and waffles. God, look at the chicken, though. That's what it's about. You got to get the chicken that looks like that with the glaze. Usually it's like a Nashville hot, so you have to go through the layers. It's sweet, it's crunchy, it's savory, and then you get the waffles, and it can't be just some generic waffle. It usually has to be handmade, and usually when you get something like that, that's a 10 out of 10 right there. All right, let's take a look to see if we can go down the sushi aisle. Do you want to do you haven't? Well, if you do, you have to make sure you get it to look like this. Because if you end up looking for chicken and waffles that look like this, there's a difference. I'll show you another photo. And Sarah, we'll get into your sushi here in a second. I want to make sure we just kind of go in theme. So we'll go breakfast, and then we can kind of go into like, dinner time stuff. So that way we're not just bouncing from, just from like a pancake to sushi. You know what I mean? So we'll kind of make our way down there. So that way we kind of do it in a theme. So we'll get there in just a second. Let's see here. But I got another chicken and waffles here for you, Zach, so you can kind of see the difference. But obviously there'll be places like Waffle Houses that'll offer them, but you can also get it, at, different food carts and things like that. Here in Oregon, we have a bunch of them. So we usually have a good selection of Indian food to Asian food to Mexican food, American food. And really, there's just so many options here. And here, I'll show you. See, so this right here that I'm showing you on the screen is going to be like a 10 out of 10. It's like you're looking at these, and this is like, okay, ideal waffle photo with the syrup and the butter. You got the pancake, you got the drizzle with the syrup. It looks good. Then you get something a little fancier that maybe has a little caramel, with a little syrup on there with the fruit, and it's got everything in between there. Okay. And then you get the chicken and waffles. And again, look at the texture. It's all about the HD 4K quality of looking at the waffle and, looking at the actual chicken itself. I mean, it looks like you can just take a bite of the waffle, into the computer screen or the tablet or phone or TV that you're watching on. But if you want to be able to get chicken and waffles, it's got to look like this. Otherwise, if you go to a restaurant that just does it kind of like so, like it's going to be good, but if you look at the pictures, just regular kind of like KFC, fried chicken from like either a KFC place, a Popeyes, or a Safeway with some waffles that they just caught up. This is going to be, maybe like a scale on a 1 to 10, maybe like a 7. But then if you get it and it looks like this, it might be life-changing, and it could be one of the best meals of your life. And believe it or not, out of all the meals that I've ever had, when I went to Seattle, when I went to Sisters and Brothers, they have Nashville hot chicken there. And the best meal I've ever had was Nashville hot chicken with waffles, just like this photo. And then they had homemade mac and cheese with bacon and the bacon bits, but they weren't little small bits. They were big chunks of bacon all sprinkled on the top. And I swear, I would drive 3 or 4 hours just to go eat something like this. And I'm not saying something like this won't be good, but as you can look in the pictures, there's a difference between this, which is going to be like a 6 or a 7, or something like this that could be life-changing. And that is big facts. Let's go. You didn't watch, you slapped. Okay. Well, I'll be turning it on here in about 30 minutes, so I'm very excited to see what we have. Okay, tacos. We'll definitely go down that route. Okay. All right, so I'll let you guys decide. Where do we want to go, Sarah? We're going to get to the sushi. Do we want to go sushi now, or do we do Zach and do we tacos and we do some Mexican food from here? And then we can always bounce back and forth on what we want to do. I'll let you guys decide on how, you guys want to go. It's totally up to you. We just kind of want to do it in theme: breakfast, lunch, Mexican food. And then, like I said, then it'll give me time to pull up some sushi stuff, because I don't really have a whole lot on hand. So it'll be something that I have to kind of search for on the go. So where do you guys want to go next? You guys want to go tacos and Mexican food? We kind of go down that particular path, and then that'll give me some time to go down the sushi path as well. So let's do that. I'm telling you, you get chicken and waffles that look like that, it's game over. It is game over. So we'll do tacos, Mexican food, burritos, anything like nachos. We'll go down that path. And then once we do that, then we'll go into the sushi for Sarah. So that way that we kind of do it in theme. Let's see here. Let's go to the next one here. Plus that'll give me some time to find some good stuff. And I don't really care, for food. Like I'll really do any type. It doesn't really matter to me. I don't really go, oh, I'm only going to eat this type of food or that. I mean, obviously, if you go to the food cart, you definitely want to have something that looks like this rather than Taco Bell food. So, okay. And then we'll definitely go to your sushi. We won't forget about you. I appreciate you tremendously. And hopefully we can end up having a good night tonight. All right, let's go down this path. We'll go down here for Zach. And I hope things are getting a little bit better for you than they were yesterday. Sounds like things are getting better. Yeah, carne asada, or, I mean, there's just so many different options. El pastor, you just, you can go down any path, and any type of Mexican food is good food to me. Oh, baby. Yeah, tacos does sound good. And we're going to be getting into a season here in the next few days for obviously the MLB playoffs. NFL's in full swing. So usually there's not like a free day to just do something fun. But, like I said, I could have just been like, hey, let's talk NFL. And we still do that anyways. But I figured we could do something that we usually show every night anyways. So that way we can, visually stimulate, our brains and our eyes and our minds with stuff that's just fucking delicious. Yeah, it's crazy. And then Twitter decided to take off the live stream for whatever reason. So I got to go in there and see why they did that. But now they're not showing my live on there for whatever reason. So now it's just like kind of like a post instead of actually me being live. I don't know why Twitter did that, but obviously it was linked, with the YouTube channel, but I'll have to do some digging and we'll go from there. I bet. Toby's like, I love Taco Bell. So do you think you got sick when you went to go out and eat pizza for your birthday? You think you got sick there at the pizza spot or somewhere that you visited in the last few days? It had to have been somewhere outside that you visited, unless your parents are sick. But hopefully you feel better soon. Oh, baby. That looks good. Of course, man. Like I said, I can do any type of stream, but I figured, this is a time where all the baseball games ended early. I'm going to be watching wrestling in 26 minutes. So I figured, we usually end the stream off. The last 30 minutes to hour and a half, we do food after whatever the main event is, football, wrestling, whatever, baseball. And then we usually do it for mental health. But yeah, I'm always going to end up doing the best foods. And oh yeah, bro, I don't know if you just saw. So started it off. So, we started off with obviously the waffles, and that's great. Like in the thumbnail, you got to have the butter and you got to have the syrup, and everyone loves food. So, this is going to apply to everybody, right? Then we go with the pancakes with the syrup. Then we go down this path where you get the kind of the drizzle with the caramel, and obviously with some fruits on the top. Still looks very good. And then when you look at chicken and waffles, it's got to look like this for anyone that's never had it. Like if you go get chicken and waffles and it looks like this, it'll still taste good. It's just going to be like KFC chicken, Safeway chicken, Popeyes chicken. Was there some waffles that are very cheap that they just threw in like a toaster, put some butter and syrup on it? It's still going to be good, but it's only going to be like maybe a 6 or a 7. But if you end up going to a place and they hand make the waffles right from scratch, and then they do a Nashville hot chicken that's glistening like this, then you go with the sweet, the savory, and then obviously crunches, and you can taste the savoriness in the inside. This is something that'll be life-changing. And like I said, I drove to Seattle, to go to a Mariner game, Seahawks game with my buddy. Sisters and Brothers has got the best Nashville hot chicken in the Northwest. And I would literally drive 3 hours to Seattle just to eat at this location. I mean, if you look at the waffles and you look at the chicken, it doesn't look anything like this. So you already know there's a different level of chicken and food. And on top of that, they made a handmade, right? Handmade mac and cheese, right? But it wasn't like the little yellow, it was white. And the big chunks of that homemade mac and cheese with bacon. And the bacon bits were not small. They were really big pieces of bacon, like a big strip that they cut up in maybe 15 pieces. You know, like, so imagine a piece of bacon cut up in 15 pieces, sprinkled on the top, but they were thick pieces of bacon. And it probably was the best meal that I've, had in my entire life, no lie. And you can tell this is going to be okay, right? This will be life-changing. And if you go get chicken and waffles and it looks like this from your Waffle House, or depending on where you live on the West Coast, now we have a lot of food carts in Portland and in, the Beaverton area, and we have a lot of places to go, but places in the Midwest and the East Coast and the South, they might be able to do the chicken and waffles better than us on the West Coast. I mean, I would assume Midwest and South would do it the best, based off that country hospitality and that Midwest hospitality as well. I mean, don't get any better than that. That was actually going to be my thumbnail, but I was going to wait, to do it in here or my background. And obviously that looks great. Maybe when I do my next food stream, this will be the thumbnail or the background. Delicious. Look at that. And then we're going into tacos, and I'll let anyone decide where we decide to go, but we'll just kind of go ahead and do it by theme. And if we want to go back to do breakfast, we can always go that route. Everything looks good. And then we're going to get into sushi here for Sarah just in a moment after we go through some nacho pictures. Oh my, look at the cheese on that. Your mom's coworker is sick. Uh-oh. Gumbo and grilled cheese sandwich. Okay, let me look to see if I can find that real quick, and then we'll get into Sarah's sushi and other things. So one sec here. Gumbo and grilled cheese. Is that a staple from where you're from? Sounds amazing. Just don't know if I'll be able to find a photo of it unless there's like a specific restaurant that sells something like that. Now I'm finding a bunch of grilled cheese sandwiches, but I'm not sure if I can find anything. I mean, I'm finding pictures of the gumbo and grilled cheese, but I want to see it like open. We'll see what it looks like. Ooh, this one's pretty good. This one won't fit the screen, but hopefully it'll pull up for me. Yeah, I don't know. Last 3 days, it's been, I don't know where everyone's at, but like I said, I'm going to continue to keep grinding and hustling. All right, here we go. So I did find a picture of the gumbo and grilled cheese. It's not going to fit the screen, but still. Okay. I wanted to make sure I found something that actually had the grilled cheese, exposed, not just flat. Because, I mean, then you don't even know if it really has it in there. And that actually looks amazing. So is that something that you guys typically have, in your region? Something that you guys usually eat all the time, or it's kind of a staple out there? Looks good. I won't lie. Oh, baby. All right, try to look up some sushi stuff here. That looks good. Yeah, that looks good. Oh, nice. Yeah, like I said, I don't worry about it. If people show up, we'll get people to show up. Some days are going to be slower than others. Some days will be more busy, but yeah, it definitely has been unusually slow the last 3 days for sure. Just got to keep the faith. Hi, Paisley. All right, where do we want to go next, Sarah? Oh, nice. Yeah, I had a few people that were mentioning the times and everything. It sucks. Like they're gonna end up having one of the games on like way too early, like at 1, so I can't even do the game because obviously my girlfriend will be working still, so I can't even do the game on Friday, unfortunately. So, but thank you, I appreciate it. And we can kind of just start it off from the top. So we started off with some breakfast. You can never go wrong with waffles. And then some pancakes. Everything looks great. A chicken and waffles before, and then what it's supposed to look like. That's amazing. Looks so good. Then we got tacos, kind of some Mexican food. Then we have the sushi path. A nice healthy snack, something that's not going to be too fattening. And we can do some Japanese food or hibachi stuff. Is it that bad? You're feeling crappy? Yeah, and at any point, if you want to dip off, and if you want to just go back to sleep or whatever, I don't want you to suffer through if you're not feeling well. You decide if you got to go, you got to go, and you know what I mean. Tomorrow will be Thursday night football. I told Preston with Jonathan Taylor not playing, it might be kind of an ugly game, and maybe coming over for WWE. Was it Extreme Rules? Coming over for the pay-per-view. Maybe on that day, I'll be doing the Mariners, Blue Jays game 2 on Saturday, like at 1. And then as soon as that's over, I can transition into the WWE pay-per-view. So that would probably be a better, funner thing to do, because I just don't know how that Colt game and Bronco game is going to be. It could get a little ugly. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of scoring in that game, but I mean, I hope it ends up being entertaining, but I think you even know that too. That's probably, I know Colts fans are not happy with all the fumbles and turnovers, and the season already looks like it's over. And Broncos obviously don't look really that good either. Obviously it's going to take a couple years for Russ to get acclimated with all the new pieces with Hackett and obviously that coaching style. So, but I'm still going to do the game. I'm still going to do it. So I'll have to talk to him and see if he's going to, come through tomorrow or maybe come through for the wrestling pay-per-view. But yeah, we're going to keep grinding it out. All right. Mariners 4-3, bottom of the 6th. Yeah. Well, I don't even know if you have to tank it. Probably just going to happen on its own. You know what I mean? Obviously, the lack of depth at wide receiver and tight end. And like I said, if you have Jonathan Taylor, Hines, Pittman go down or Darius Leonard, Shaq Leonard, you're fucked. You're screwed, and there's no real replacements that you can throw in there to stay competitive with these other NFL teams, unfortunately. So that's why it's so important to be able to get depth in football, because if your superstars stay healthy, you're fine. But if they get hurt, just like in fantasy, and you don't have a good bench, in fantasy or in real life for the team, it makes it a lot more challenging to be able to win. And that is big facts. And we got 10 minutes to go before AEW comes through.
Get more privacy in your existing inbox and keep your email address secret with DuckDuckGo. The DuckDuckGo app offers email protection, which removes trackers before forwarding emails to your regular inbox, and lets you generate multiple protected email addresses, all for free. Stop companies from watching you by downloading the app today. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
The Bala is the easiest home cooked meal I have ever had.
Take your barcode and then you just hit scan.
Press that scan button.
And it's cooking for you.
Yeah, it looks like those would probably be the ones that, I don't know if you'd be able to get CJ though. Maybe. I guess it just depends on how bad you're going to be this year. I don't know if you guys will be bottom 5 in the league, maybe bottom 10, but I don't know about bottom 5. But you never know. Yeah, well, it started to work out a little bit, for you, where you could do it for, it's like after Andrew Luck, it's like, you're going to have the Phillip Rivers and, you can have Wentz and now you have Matt Ryan, but it's just better to start off with something fresh like an Andrew Luck. And that way you can just build around that, or like a Peyton Manning, not that they're going to be the next Peyton Manning or Andrew Luck, but it's just better than going for the Band-Aid. Yeah, I know it's disappointing, but maybe, maybe they were just overhyped. Maybe, you just assume the Colts are the Colts of old, that they're going to be able to win the division and they're going to get it done. But maybe, they thought they were better than they really were. And, obviously teams like the Jags and Texans are playing better than expected, and the Colts and Titans are playing worse than expected. So that's why, every single year you never really know how things are going to pan out until the games are actually played. What? What happened? Uh-huh. Hey, there you go. Exercise. There you go. It's good, though. He's got to exercise, lose weight, eat better. And like I said, this is what, day 15 or 16 for me. No booze, no beer, nothing. So, and I didn't know if I could. I knew I could do it, and it's just a matter of sticking with it. And once you start exercising and eating better, and you stick with it, it becomes really easy. It's just a part of the routine. Yeah, I think most Colts fans are under that impression as well. We got 4 minutes until AEW comes on. There we go, baby. That's what I'm talking about. All right, we're going to shift into Korean barbecue. All right, it's almost time, baby. Been waiting all day for AEW Dynamite. Let's get that clicked over. And I didn't watch any of it, so I have no idea what happened. All right, let's go to, where is it?
Online for a limited time. So hurry and take advantage of these low prices. High prices, which mean low prices. You get the deal. 20% off menu prices on everything.
Oh, good.
For now at Domino's.
Kellogg's Rice Christmas Treats. Connect on a sweeter level.
I think I changed my mind about these glasses.
Yeah, it happens. That's why VisionWorks gives you 100 days to change your mind. It's simple.
All right, AEW in 1 minute, baby.
VisionWorks. See the difference.
I did see that. How old is he? 30? 30 something?
There he is, the man of the hour. He took one for the team. Tell yourself that. Makes it easier.
Oh, really? Nice. 33 for Kelsey, 25 for Pittman. Nice. Yeah, after we go, for maybe like an hour or so, we can always see how many people that we have, and if we need to change the title, in the photo, if I need to change it to, let's talk NFL and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? NFL and wrestling or whatever. I can always do that if that's going to attract maybe more people, than food initially, because we can always get into food at the end, but I can always change things on the fly. It's not a problem. Whatever we think that can get the most people in here. MJF? Oh, yeah. MJF is in action, too. Oh, I like that jacket he's wearing. That's cool. I'd rock an MJF jacket for sure. JT in the building. What to do? Is that even a question, bro? Come on, bro. You already know I'm 4-0. I got the best team in the league. Sarah's team is 4-0 as well, but we'll find out. Like I said, I think no one will go undefeated in the league, but I would be shocked if I play anybody besides Sarah in the championship, unless her team gets injured or mine does. How are you doing, JT? You got any suggestions on what you want to see for food? We're kind of just going down the aisle. I normally don't do food as like the main topic. We usually do it as like the last 30 minutes to 2 hours after I do football or wrestling or baseball. But I thought, fuck it, like nothing's on right now. I get AEW now, but I started the stream about 45 minutes ago. So I figured, okay, we can do food and we'll see how it goes. If I need to change the thumbnail and the title midstream, I can always do that. And then obviously we have, Thursday night football, and then we got Major League Baseball playoffs, and this was just kind of like a free day, something fun, so. And food applies to everybody. I mean, for me, honestly, I could, if we have a lot of people that show up, great. If we don't have a lot, it doesn't bother me. I don't get worked up anymore about how many people in the room or what the sub count is. I don't really care anymore. All I'm going to do is grind and work hard, and then whatever happens, happens. I mean, I haven't missed a stream since July 4th. I literally have gone every day since July 4th. That's fucking crazy. But, you have a dream, you have a passion, you gotta grind it out. Plus your boy's got bills to pay, baby. It's a good matchup here. Wheeler Yuta and MJF. I like this to open up the match for the AEW Dynamite 3-year anniversary. Scissor me, daddy. I can't wait. Ooh, that'll be good. Ooh, baby. Next week, I believe, in like a week or two. I think it's like week 6. I hate the NBA though, bro. I can't be fake. I can't just, like when the NBA's going and if it's a good matchup, you know what I mean? Like Celtics and Warriors or Bucks and Warriors. But like I said, I've been watching since the 80s and 90s, and I've been watching a long time, and the league now is not fun. I mean, like I said, I thought WWE, and when Triple H took over, it got much better. But Vince running WWE was running it into the ground for the last 2 years, and the NBA, to me, hasn't been good in a long time. Like, you got big guys that are shooting threes. Nobody plays defense. There's not enough superstars. There's not enough good teams matching up against each other. I don't know. It's just, I mean, I know a lot about the NBA. I just don't really enjoy it, but I still keep up with the trades and, who's good, who's not, and everything like that. But I just can't be fake, bro. You know what I mean? That's the one thing that I hate. So I can't do something that I hate. I mean, like I said, I'll do playoffs, good matchups, the finals, but I truly don't enjoy it. Yeah, but the thing is that we play at different times. So you're not going to be able to just do a stream based on like all of our teammates and all our people play at the same time. some are going to play at 10 a.m. Some are going to play at 6:30 a.m. Some are going to play at Monday night. So there's no way to to determine who's going to win until, Monday night is over. And then it's like Sunday, Monday, and then you figure out after Monday Night Football who wins, unless nobody has anybody playing then. So, but I'm projected for 139. I don't know. I feel I got the best team in the league, but Sarah's very top heavy, but my bench is better than hers. I got Herbert, Chubb, Barkley, Jefferson, Godwin, Andrews, Jacobs, Buffalo D, Koo. My bench is DeAndre Hopkins, Jeff Wilson, Curtis Samuel, Dallas D, Adam Thielen, Everett, Geno Smith, and I got Elijah Mitchell. So every piece I have on the bench, I could put in and play. Most people that play fantasy don't do that. They'll have their starters, but then they just, have pieces on the bench, but maybe those guys never get in unless there's a serious injury. I do it different. I literally draft people and put people that I could plug in at any point. At any point in the week, I want to have a guy that, like an Adam Thielen, if I just feel froggy and I'm like, all right, instead of Godwin, I'm going Thielen. And, maybe that wouldn't make sense to some people, but I look at the stats and the analytics. I don't listen to just the websites, and the stardom, sit-em. But it'll be very exciting to see. And then obviously with Sarah's team, Sarah's got Josh Allen, Kareem Hunt, Naheem Hines, Tyreek Hill, Mike Williams, Travis Kelce, Gabe Davis, Tampa Bay D, Carlson at kicker, Jonathan Taylor, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Make 'em Puke Ayuk, Brandon Ayuk, Trevor Lawrence, Russell Gage, Gesicki, and Pickens. So, we're the only 2 undefeated teams left. Ooh, that sounds good.
Are we just cleaning your car? You can take the ball from my hand. You will be ready. You were always ready.
Why did I do that whole training?
That's mostly for me. Confidence booster.
What will you do? What will you change?
Yeah, the battle of the undefeateds. Sometimes, like I said, you can have a stacked team, but they just don't put up stats for that week, though, too. So,
Untitled Technologies advisors provide you with the tools and expertise you need to do incredible things. Because we believe.
So what do we want to do, Sarah? Do we want to continue to go down this particular food path? Should we, change the thumbnail and just change the stream to, NFL, MLB, AEW, that type of thing? What do you think? Do you want to continue to go down this path? I mean, I think we should just keep going. I mean, like I said, it's just a matter of time before we get more goats showing up. Like I said, it's been kind of slow the last 3 days, but, I figure if we keep grinding it out, eventually people will come through. Because, I mean, we usually do food at the end of the stream anyways, but if we can attract more people by me just saying, hey, let's talk NFL, and then we can throw the food up at the end of the stream, we can do that too.
Fingers clasped in there. Yuta, the second one, turns the corner, maintains the grip. Spot out Yuta's turning his head right before hitting in that bridge so he can roll for another jerk. See there, he turns the head. Oh, MJF kicked out, but Wheeler Yuta maintained the waist lock, Lord Regal. Yes. The grip trips. Probably got a good S grip on. Yes, he does. I'm sure that's what it is. You can't see it right now. But MJF trying to shut it down. MJF trying to get his wing open. Wheeler Yuta pops the hips and sends MJF for a ride. Good job by Wheeler Yuta. That's an incredible enthusiasm. Definitely has that. We saw Wheeler Yuta head to the top once before in this match. MJF rolled out of the well, and he does so again. So smart. Yes, you can't blame him for that. No, and listen, I just my professional opinion. I think I know what Jeff told me. It's Yom Kippur. He's been basically fasting. So he's like somehow he gets the better of me. This is why it's fasting. God bless you. Wow. Happy New Year to MJF. There you go. Many people around the world. But
Damn. That's insane. I know people do that, though, because you got to pay to like beef up the squad and everything and all the other side challenges and stuff like that. That's crazy. Yeah, Brady and Giselle. Yeah. Cole Beasley retired. But I mean, he wasn't really doing anything for the Buccaneers anyways. Yeah, but like I said, you can, Sarah's right. I mean, you can have a stacked team that has like the best names that are projected for, 20, 30, 40 points. And then all of a sudden, you look at the lineup and you should be scoring like 120 to 200 and you end up with 75. And you're like, what the hell happened? And it's everyone just, played a tough opponent or, they just shit the bed. So.
Sticking it through, I think, Rio, I agree, but I think he's sticking it through because he knows he has you down and out right now, but I do get the drift. Maybe he's getting a little too full of himself here. MJF getting a little, this might be firing you up.
All right, Wheeler Yuta and MJF. This is cool to be able to see MJF wrestle because normally it's just him cutting a promo. So we want to make sure that, not only, MJF is great on the mic, you know what I mean, but he's entertaining in the ring too. I just need to be able to see some big matchups. MJF and Bryan Danielson, MJF and Kenny Omega. I need the big matchups. We could have had CM Punk and MJF just for the rivalry's sake.
Nice bridge up. Tremendous core strength again, as you said. Backslide attempted. MJF thinking tombstone pounce. Yuta reverses. Good job, Yuta.
Oh, Wheeler Yuta. Oh, MJF with the counter. 1, 2. Ooh. Yeah, he didn't have anything left, though. It's just one of those things, they tried having him out there running routes and whatnot, but he just looks out of shape, lost, and I think he doesn't have it anymore. Just doesn't have the commitment to go after it. And obviously, not being on Buffalo anymore, he had a chance to maybe win a Super Bowl. He should have just got vaccinated, and maybe things would have been fine. But you fought the system, and they dropped you, and now your career's over. So you probably should have got vaccinated, and if you did, then you probably would still be a Buffalo Bill, maybe. So. He was pretty good for the Cowboys as well. See if I can get a good Cowboy photo or Bills photo.
Right there. Right on the old Yam City. MJF clearing out the cobwebs still. He bought himself some precious time there. What is this? Wait, MJF's maybe going for some sort of a stunner or no? No, he's bringing Yuta up. No, he's thinking avalanche tombstone pile driver. No. Max, be careful. This is dangerous here. Yuta's in trouble. But we got us counter here. There we go. Yuta clap the boots together. Good luck. Look at that. Stop the move up there. Oh! Viciousness by Yuta. Time well spent with John Moxley. Sir. And now Wheeler Yuta gaining his footing.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna change the thumbnail and we'll just do something regular. We can do the food at the end and go from that particular route. So why? What's wrong with it? Is it? Oh, who did it?
I don't know if it's maybe a bug bite that's swelled up, or it could be something to go right through. I don't know, but you need to get checked out.
MJF, again, it's the third or fourth time. It was the third time, but MJF, you can't blame that. Very smart. Come on.
It doesn't seem to like really be bothering her, but if it's something she's allergic to and she needs allergy, like
Yeah, we need to make sure we take care of her. Yeah, in the morning or now.
Let's take another look at the explosivity in the legs and lower back. Quads, glutes.
Yeah, all the games ended, earlier this morning or afternoon. So all right, so I'm gonna make this real fast and switch it up.
Deep borders here in this match. And then MJF, he might be out right here. Yeah, look how the head of MJF is just rocking back and forth. Now Wheeler Yuta turns the corner looking for the seatbelt belt. Yeah, MJF thinking it's all soul of the earth. That free throw on that soul of the earth, he's got it. It's in deep Wheeler Yuta. Don't go back too far here. Keep the tension on that elbow.
How come I didn't notice it earlier? It must have just happened. Everything was fine when I was. So it must have happened by the time when Brooklyn got home or something, or because everything was fine. Well, did she eat something in Brooklyn's room? Pop-Tart or something?
This isn't just something that just happens like within a few hours.
What a battle, Taz. That was a very different modification to the salt of the earth. MJF, when he flipped over, he puts even more tortured pressure on the tendons of the shoulder again. Everything, the AC joint, rotating cuff, bicep tendon, it's all getting tweaked and stretched on that quick roll. Now MJF pulled that arm up from Yuta. That was a battle. It could have went either way, but congratulations right there to MJF. What a turn. And what a way to kick off this third anniversary. Oh, wait.
All right, I'm going to change this up here real quick. We're just talking NFL and sports headlines. Maybe we'll get some more people to come through, and we can do the food later.
More than 7 years of history with one another. They had Jefferson to shake his hand. He's going to give that man respect after a battle. Good for you, Max. Good for you. Oh! Wait a second. Lee Moriarty! How did you do that? I didn't tell you to do that. What the hell is that? MJF upset with Lee Moriarty in the firm. Stokely Hathaway handing the dynamite diamond ring to MJF. Well, they're in the firm. They're in groups. That's part of the extension of MJF. Oh, he seems confused. He's got to go deal with whatever he's got to deal with here. Left the announce position here. MJF with that dynamite diamond ring on his right hand. Wheeler Yuta. Excuse me, fucking Ringo. Ringo with pulled out knucks. Brass knucks. You want to talk about a proper villain? Yeah, well, Ringo's been bowling brass knucks in his hand. But you best beware. MJF, even though he just went to a battle, he's in his prime here. But also, MJF has the firm on retainer as well. Who knows whether the rest of the members are lurking? Maybe Ringo did mess up. MJF wants no part of Rio with the brass knucks. Well, the man just had a long match after south of 130 days. Come on, Albert. Sure thing, Stan. Sure thing. Well, still to come in our main event, the Ocho, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara will take on Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia. And now let's take a look at the history of our main event, 3 years in the making. Let me explain who we are. Sammy Guevara, look out. This trio making their dynamite
took him out and out of the arena. I did that. We don't know when he's coming back.
Sounds like it's the best pure wrestler in the world.
Whose side are you on? If anybody's a mentor, Garcia. I would be Daniels as would be the better choice.
Garcia goes out.
Jericho looks a mess right now.
Daniel Garcia, without the assistance of Chris Jericho, defeats Wheeler Yuta in Garcia's hometown.
A cloud of dishonor has enveloped the Ring of Honor World Championship.
You can come with us if you want to train with us. If you want to
I'm changing.
All right, I'm almost done.
The desecrated legacy. The Ring of Jericho era has begun.
That's what you can do. You just got to do it on the fly. So now we're just doing, let's talk NFL and sports headlines, and then we can do food later.
You want to spit in our face and team with Brian Danielson? No problem. But you take a gift that this man gave you, that hat, and you want to throw it on the ground. I like this hat. We want this to work together. Garcia, we love you. You're our family. But it seems like you lost your way. You know, Danny, you're like a petulant child that sticks your finger to the light socket and you told not to. It's okay. It's not rebelliousness that brought you to JAS.
All right, let me update this real fast.
We taught you how to be a great sports entertainer. You know, you're talking about systematic cheating, right? Well, you say tomato, I say tomato, Shivani. Lessons will be taught. Lessons will be learned. Garcia, I just hope you make the right decision.
And if you don't, we're going to end you.
Speaking of ending, Brian Danielson, tonight is going to be a taste of what you're going to get next week in Toronto. I'm going to desecrate the legacy of Ring of Honor. I'm going to leave Toronto as the Ring of Jericho champion and still be the Ocho. Let's go back to the
Jameson in the building. What to do? Boom. All right. Hi, baby.
From Seattle, Washington, weighing 175 pounds, Darby Allin.
It's a very interesting match that came about last week, Taz. Darby Allin and Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal telling Sanjay Dutt and Sack to say, stay in the back. I got this myself. Yeah, that's not
Something's up with like Paisley's eye or something. So I don't know what the hell happened from the point where I started streaming and then now. So I guess now we'll have to figure out whatever fucking happened. And then hopefully her eye is okay or whatever. Or if she has an allergy or something. I don't know. Everything was fine. And then now. All right. So we did Let's Talk NFL and sports headlines. All right. So that's up on there.
those words, relentless, tattooed on his neck. That embodies everything about Darby Allin. I'd like to say, too, sorry to interrupt you, but like a lot of nice standing switches by both these men. The thing that is not talked enough about Darby Allin, in my professional view, is his pure freaking toughness, man. This guy is a tough dude. To me, toughness is not what you can do to someone, but what you can take. Dad, it's too bad you don't have a platform on a major cable network to get those point of views.
Yeah, I hope she's okay too. I think she seems fine to me, but something happened where she went into my girlfriend's daughter's room or ate something or something happened. I don't know what the hell happened, but I usually am the one that makes sure that she's okay. So all right. Well, that's not good. I hope everything's okay. She's right next to me right now. Hope everything's fine. She's not whimpering or anything like that, but. And I wonder who's going to have to go pay the vet. You know, everything is like always, I have to fucking take care of everything. All right, so I'm going to make a new photo and post on Twitter, Instagram, and my social media and Facebook. So give me a sec here.
Someone called it up. Oh, look at that. Darby puts on the bracelet. Oh, that little bit of a stutter step by Darby Allin cost him because as soon as he turned the corner, Jay Lethal was waiting there with the drop kick to the knee. Yeah, that was a problem. Oh, look at that torque in that knee, Shabbat, to the knee. Jay is so fluid in what he can do in the ring, but there's also a very, very thin, angry side to him. Yeah, I know Jay a long time. He is as advertised. He's tough as hell. Yeah, man. He's nasty. He's relentless and ruthless. Jay Lethal, of course, so adept with that figure four.
Okay, so I just got to make this post, and hopefully Paisley will be okay. And I think we'll get more people in here anyway. So.
Setting up a guy like Darby for figure four, which is smart. But you got to be careful. Counter by Darby. Here's what we were talking about.
Sometimes you got to make adjustments, you know, midstream. At least for like the main topic.
Gets up to a vertical position, even with Darby back to the knee. See, back to the quad and the knee. And Lethal, the deadlift into the right buster. No, Darby hangs on, reverse DDT. Or Scorpion death drop, if you will. That's his guy Stinger. Give a little corner on that. And Darby Allin, Jay Lethal. This match on the Dynamite Anniversary Edition. Wait, cover here. We'll continue in picture. Los Angeles cars everything. $1.4 million. You can't deliver it. You're tough. I started with 0. Now I support the guys. Then who got it? The car name is Cutthroat. This is about to get wild. Welcome to the game.
Let's have that up for a second here while I do the social media. And I got to delete some of these food photos and everything else, and then we can get into the stream. So one sec. Give me like 3 minutes, and then I'll be good. And then I'll do the repost on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and maybe we can get a few more people to come through. Everything is trial and error. You always got to be able to. Sometimes it depends on the day, the time.
How did the mixed Starburst taste so juicy?
I don't know. But you just asked the whole universe.
Humans are asking for juice. We are the juice.
Starburst, unexplainably juicy. Y'all remember that?
Okay, so I got all the food done.
We cried. We protected that progressive home on the Gumbo day and night. We left our blood, sweat, and tears on that yard. Well, Jamie did anyway.
Spending the day watching the kids' big game. The chop house ain't always calling your name. Kevin's dad doesn't understand boundaries. Sonic Chop House Cheeseburger. Sonic.
Postseason baseball. Calendar moves to October.
The most anti-abortion group in Oregon wants Christine Drazen to be our next governor. She's been endorsed by the NRA for years. Now Drazen is supported by January 6th rioters and members of violent militias, and she's campaigning with election-denying MAGA loyalists. If the radical gun lobby, MAGA extremists, and anti-abortion forces all want Drazen to be governor, that means Christine Drazen
Drazen won't work for you. Cared for by friends of Tina Kotek 4792.
Oregon's beauty comes from its people. Each of us, descended from those who blazed their own trail seeking opportunity. That's why I'm running for Congress. We deserve leadership that helps Oregonians get ahead. We want proven results, not cheap slogans.
As your congresswoman, I will do exactly what I did as mayor. Increase transparency, balanced budgets, and more opportunities for our kids.
I'm Lori Thomas Reaver, and I approve this message because we need real tested leadership in Congress.
Welcome back to Washington, D.C.
All right, I think I got one post done.
Transition of AEW Dynamite. And during picture-in-picture, some of the action we saw, Jay Lethal doing a great job of cutting down Darby Allin's mobility. Yeah, all over the left leg of Darby, and Darby's in a plethora of pain, and Jay Lethal's picking his spots systematically. Darby, the boots are up in the corner. Jay Lethal. That has been the game plan of Jay Lethal all along.
It's been the game plan, but I noticed the look on Jay's face. I don't know if it was a look of concentration or concern about wondering how much you got to do to keep Darby down and to win the match.
Well, I'll tell you what, Lethal is doing an awesome job of just wearing out this man who, as we pointed out, is extremely relentless and has a ton of fortitude. But Darby, his knee is about to just give out next count. Jay Lethal is already perched up on the top rope. Lethal could be thinking superplex. I got a feeling Lethal's going to nail this superplex, but Darby, a fighter, fight now. Okay, let's right hands to the ribcage.
All right, I had a post and I had to adjust it, so I got the post up there now on Twitter. Sarah, if you want to do that. All right, so we're on Twitter, on Facebook, YouTube post, Instagram. I think we're all good. And like I said, sometimes you just got to switch things up after an hour.
Darby is in so much pain. Got to try to turn to your belly if you can. Look at it. You see Darby swiping at Jay Lethal, but Lethal doing a good job of staying out of the reach.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome.
Yeah, all of his weight back. Jay Lethal's weight back before the making next caliber to keep that pressure on the knee joint. Now scooping back towards the middle. Yeah, sliding back towards the center of the ring. Darby trying to turn the corner, trying to put downward pressure on Lethal's knees. If he can get it so Lethal's flat on his stomach. Oh, no. But that plays into what I said earlier, Shivani, the flexibility of
you okay?
That helped him survive that big fall.
Yeah, it did. You're exactly right again, Taz.
Jay Lethal a little bit frustrated, finding out firsthand how durable, how relentless Darby Allin indeed is. Back elbow out of nowhere.
Yeah, everything he does is seemingly out of nowhere. Look at this. Darby can barely stand.
Darby, oh, and Jay Lethal injection. Whoa! He had a right on his head. You're right. Lethal on the head.
All right, I think we're good. I guess I could have just started the stream an hour later, but like I said, sometimes it's trial and error. Okay, I think we're good. All right, let's get it going here. Obviously, I had to kind of switch things up midstream, and sometimes that happens. And like I said, anything you guys want to go over and discuss, please do. Any of the topic, obviously Tom Brady and Giselle, that's obviously looks like it's heading to a divorce. Cole Beasley retired. Wasn't really doing anything for the Buccaneers, a well-known Cowboy and Buffalo Bill. I hope everyone is doing well, and anything that anyone wants to go over, let me know picture-wise, and I can throw them up, and then we'll just go from here. So just try to do something different and fun with the food, but, just not the right time or right place and right day. But I do think it will work. It'll just maybe be down the road. So, but I hope Paisley is okay, though. I don't really see that much of a difference with her eye or if something's going on. But, I baby her. And I take care of her, but, I always try to check up, but, I don't know what happened. If it's just like an allergic reaction or if she ate something in my girlfriend's daughter's room, I have no idea. But if there is some kind of vet bill, guess who's going to pay for it? So, got to grind. So it looks like I'll probably go into the vet tomorrow. We'll see. She doesn't really seem like hurt or anything is going on, but I'll have to take a better look and examine. So, Yeah, I hope so too. So I'll just pull up photos of a couple of the stories. Not anything really going too crazy. Obviously, Julio doing Julio things, and Mariners getting off to a good ending of the regular season. Finishing 90-72 for the second straight year, but this year we're in the playoffs, so that's great. Julio had a fantastic statistical year too. Let's see here. Yeah, but Cole really didn't do anything, and he kind of looked lost. And I think everything kind of went downhill for him when he didn't get vaccinated and kind of singled himself out. And, obviously bouncing from team to team. And, it's unfortunate, but he's calling it a career, and hopefully he can find some peace in that and maybe find something to do after football. Brian Cage and Wardlow, that'll be fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next contest set for one fall with a 20-minute time, and it's for the TNT Championship.
Oh, TNT Championship? Okay. The Machine, Brian Cage. Yeah, but I don't know. I hope everything's okay with Paisley. I don't think it's anything too serious. Not a whole lot going on besides, Cole Beasley retiring. That was obviously one of the main headlines. You got Tom and Giselle, you know what I mean? Maybe it's karma that he, decided to come back and should have stayed retired, even though it was off a losing season instead of a Super Bowl win. Because he wants to end the career with a Super Bowl win, not anything but that. And maybe he should have just retired when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won and just called it and then ended it, as a career. But he wouldn't have been satisfied and had regret. But then now, because even if, he stopped playing football, he's going to be in the booth. So maybe it's just one of those things that, football, it's just him, and she knew what she was getting herself into a long time ago. And maybe it's just, better for, it's not going to be better maybe for both, but, if she wants to date other dudes and, and have someone that's going to be more around and, Tom is going to continue to do football and football things. So. Oh, I did see that too. Yeah, for the Athletics, and his kids called in his last at bat, and then he went yard. Let's throw a photo up of him. I did see that. It's from the Northwest too. One of the, announcer, sideline Mariner reporters. One of the girls that handles a lot of the sideline reporting. She actually was mentioning some information about him.
And I'm telling you right now, Brian Cage,
No, you might think Gumbo has a speed advantage. No, I don't know about that. Brian Cage is super quick. Incredible what Big Al can do that. Absolutely incredible. And I was also right there by the TNT champion. Watch out. Listen to this. Yeah, nice see Harris. Cage. Cage and Wardlow both showing their agility and now. Oh boy, how strong is this right here? The sucker face kill. Wardlow intercepts and spikes him. Impressive. Both men. I got Prince fired up. We're in the money. We're in the money. You know, we've seen a lot of great Ring of Honor competitors throughout our broadcast already tonight. But remember tonight,
Pinch hit, Homa. Regular Homa. Lead Homa.
they got the Ring of Honor Pure Champion Daniel Garcia and Bryan Danielson. And Mark Harper's early career in Ring of Honor. Brian Cage on the cusp of being crowned the TNT champion. But this title match continues in picture-in-picture. Can Brian Cage unseat Wardlow?
He did it too. Let me see here. See if there's anything else headline-wise, really, while I'm watching AEW Dynamite. And like I said, anything that anyone wants to discuss or have me throw up for a picture, just type it in the chat and I'll take care of you. We got Colts and Broncos tomorrow. Beasley retires after 11 seasons. We had the pictures there, nothing too crazy. Tried to play for the Buccaneers, but just couldn't do it. And then obviously we know that sounds like these guys are headed for a divorce. They both have divorce lawyers, supposedly, but we don't know if that's true or not. That's what the internet say. See, AK-41, Alvin Kamara plans to play against Seattle, even though he's been banged up for the last few weeks. So that's a good sign. And then a nice last at-bat, being called out by his kids and being able to get a nice long-distance home run. Pretty sweet. Yeah, last at-bat and going yard. Pretty sweet. They also did that for the catcher for the Angels as well. Pitching coach for the Royals, Matheny. Yeah, they're starting to drop people left and right. Yeah, but kind of a light day, nothing too crazy. Yeah, but Julio ended up, finishing off his career on a really, really good note, which is kind of exciting. Ended up breaking the rookie record for most home runs for the Mariners, beating Alvin Davis by a home run, which is awesome. Let me see. All right, so Julio's rookie season. Let's take a little peek here. What did you have, Julio? 132 games, a 284 batting average, 345 on base percentage, 509 slugging percentage, and 854 OPS, right? Then he had 28 homers, 25 doubles, 3 triples, 84 runs scored, 75 ribbies, right? 25 stolen bases, 145 strikeouts, which is a little high, 40 walks, and 560 plate appearances. And he still hit 28 homers without even homering at all in April. So that's pretty amazing. So he could have hit maybe somewhere between 30 and 40 if he just would have been able to get off to a little bit better of a start instead of hitting his first home run in May and actually getting off to a good start in April. But pretty amazing. And we definitely have a chance against the Blue Jays. All 3 games are going to be up there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we'll be doing the Colts and Broncos tomorrow. I won't be able to do the Mariner game on Friday because it's on at 1 o'clock. They didn't really take into consideration for people on the West Coast. Thanks a lot, Blue Jays. But but I will be able to do the game on Saturday and then do the WWE pay-per-view after that. But congratulations to J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez, for killing it. And obviously we have a chance now to make some history. And if they get past the Blue Jays, then I have tickets. I think it's for game 4. That'll be the second home game in Seattle. So hopefully we're not down 3-0 at that point if we get that far. But I'm very, very excited. I hope I get to see the Astros and the Mariners in the next round in the ALDS. But we need to take care of business first in the wild card against the Blue Jays. And I'm hoping that we can do it. And then anything else news-wise that we need to talk about besides Julio, Cole Beasley calling it a career? That was pretty much, and then Giselle and Tom, supposedly, getting a divorce, but we'll see. And then obviously Steven with a big, obviously home run at his very last at bat, and, having his kids announce him. That's pretty cool when you get guys that are kind of walk off either into retirement or what's going on. So. No problem. How's it going? Decided to switch it up from the food. We'll do that either at the end of the stream or another time and just go to something regular. Figured we'd get more people probably to show up if we just have that as the main theme. And we won today. Things are looking good. 5-4 against the Tigers. And, we had to find a way to be able to, make the magic happen. Now we all got, Thursday off, everybody. And then when Friday comes around, that's when the playoffs are going to start. But I don't understand why we're playing so early. 107. I wanted to be able to call the game tomorrow. And then they have the Mariners and the Blue Jays, the Rays and the Guardians, and then the Phillies and the Cardinals, Padres, and Mets all on Friday. Just wish that we could have been the late game so I could, call it. But, I'll be watching it, but I won't just be able to get on the internet. And then any other topics or anything that you guys want to go over, please do. It could be NFL, MLB, AEW, WWE's got a pay-per-view this weekend. I'll be doing that as well. And I'll see what Preston is up to if he decides to come tomorrow for the game or maybe the wrestling event. I think the wrestling might be, I don't know. I don't know what the Colt game and the Broncos are going to look like. I'm not sure how that's going to all play out. Could be a good matchup, where you get a lot of points. Maybe we can get surprised, but on paper with, Jonathan Taylor injured and a few other injuries, could be a little boring of a game, a little bit low scoring. And a lot of the games, it seems like it's been a lot more defense than offense, except unless you're watching like maybe something Chiefs or Seahawks, depending on who they're playing. But certain teams like the Bills and Chiefs putting up a lot of points, and occasionally the Seahawks as well with Geno. And some of the games have just been defensive minded, and sometimes those get a little slow. So I totally get it. But shout out to my boy Julio. Fantastic year. And I hope we can keep it going and we can make a deep, deep run. Anything else, Sarah, news-wise that we should discuss? So anything photos-wise I can pull up besides anything that you guys randomly want me to pull up? Powerbomb by Wardlow. Wardlow with another powerbomb. I mean, Cage and Wardlow are, identical almost in build and size. Ooh, attacks from behind. Well, I hope you get better from the panic attack. Because at this point, I'm watching AEW. Ooh, Samoa Joe. All right, so I'm watching AEW Dynamite. It's the 3-year anniversary. And then whatever you guys want to bring up. I mean, the stream is for you guys. So, when it's kind of a slower night and all the baseball games are already done this morning or afternoon, it's just grinding and hustling and spending time and just, enjoying the vibe. And whatever you guys want to see or talk about, it's totally up to you. And, and then if we get into food later, we can do that. And I'm going to go check on Paisley here, make sure she's okay. Give me a second.
Not trying to talk. Days of agony into success. Chill out, live the fight another day. Jackson Cash not reaching at all. Staring coldly at the gates of agony. What a quartet of talent. Portland, Samoa Joe, and FTR. And that thing just. That was a closer match, and then it just blew up even more afterwards. I love it. Well, this extended anniversary edition of Dynamite continues next with a massive trio tag team match. Don't go anywhere. The whole world is waiting for you. Welcome to the hype. That is a turn up. I feel like to say that.
Taking my antidepressant daily, but I would still put up a brave face to hide feeling depressed. My depression made me feel like I was stuck on autopilot. Then I saw something that got me thinking. I'm still feeling depressed. What do you think about adding Rexulti? It could help.
So I went to go check on Paisley, and I don't really see anything wrong. Said something maybe with her eyeball or her eye or anything, but I'm not really seeing anything. Maybe I have to look it up in more light and whatnot, but Brantonio in the building. What to do? Yeah, things will be better. Stuff happens. It's all how you react to it. Just try to, you just got to be able to just try to be as cool as a cucumber the best you can, It's all, a lot of stuff happens. A lot of bad stuff happens to people every day. It's all about how you react to it. Some people have, more anxiety and panic attack type things. So I totally understand. But hopefully that gets solved for you sooner than later. All right. So what direction do we want to go? I'm just looking to see here because I want to keep checking up on Paisley to make sure that she is okay.
US Cellular, where every plan is price protected.
Do you want to be a better investor? Public.com is an investing platform that helps you build, grow, and manage your portfolio easier than ever before. With Public's powerful tools.
Okay, so got about an hour left of AEW Dynamite. So again, this is all you guys. You guys let me know what you guys want to go over. I can just do whatever the hell I want to, but I can go over and start talking about this and that and this and that. But I usually like to try to make it interactive for you guys. Because you guys are a big part of the show. So you let me know, and we'll go from there. Jameson with a 3-er. Appreciate you. And we started off doing the stream with food, but we didn't really have a whole lot of people coming through. So I was like, all right, well, about an hour in, we just got to switch up the theme and go to a regular, let's talk NFL and sports headlines. And it looks like it's, there was the right move. Sometimes you got to make a change even midstream, change the thumbnail and change the title and just go after it. So appreciate you, Jameson. Thank you so much. Bang, 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 bang. And again, this is just for good vibes, Sometimes we're going to have a game. Bang, bang. Sometimes it's just going to be for good vibes when we look at vacation spots or food or wrestlers or whatever, our favorite sports athletes, our favorite toys, cartoons, whatever we want to go down that particular path. this stream is for you guys, and it always is. I'm doing good, man. Like I said, my puppy's got some kind of issue, I think, with their eye, but I'm not really seeing anything. Dr. Britt Baker looking pretty as ever. Just watching AEW Dynamite. I get the West Coast feed, so I get it now. So I don't get it at 5 o'clock. I have to get it at 8 o'clock to 10. So, and other than that, we did food picks for about an hour and then switched it up. And now I'm just hanging out with my puppy and hanging out with you guys and just trying to hustle and grind. And then we got everything's off, for baseball tomorrow. We're going to do Thursday night football, Colts versus Broncos. Swaggy P might be coming through either tomorrow or for the pay-per-view for WWE on Saturday. And then Friday, we'll have some baseball playoffs. Saturday, we'll have the Blue Jays, Mariners, and the WWE pay-per-view. And then Sunday will be NFL games. So, like I said, I haven't missed a stream since July 4th, and we're going to keep grinding it out. No gummies, no beer, but still, or actually no beer, no alcohol, but still taking the gummies. Appreciate you, Jameson. My boy. Bang, 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 bang. My boy, my boy, my boy. $2.99. Thank you, brother. What do you want to see for a photo? And Sarah, what do you want to see for your earlier dono as well? I can do that also. So if you want to see, Naheem Hines or, something that that you're going to have step up for your fantasy and in real life for the Colts, I can do something like that. Jameson, let me know if you want to see something Braves or something Titans. Let me know and type it in the chat. There we go. $87 to go. We can get there and let me know. Yeah, good vibes only, man. Good vibes only. Okay, Jameson can take over for you. Get some rest. I know you're not feeling well, so get some rest, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. And we'll do Thursday night football, and hopefully you feel better. And then, Jameson, you want to take over for the donos and everything for Sarah? She did it right here. 13, we'll get to a hundo. All right, and I'll just start throwing up some Titans and Braves stuff while you decide who you want to see. Yeah, I know you got to get rid of that bug. The sooner that you take some days off, as long as I got, somebody to take over, then we're good. And I want you to rest anyways. No point if you're runny nose and you're coughing, or if you're not feeling good and having to type on the computer, if you just want to, sit down or go to sleep. So, and anybody that's got questions, NFL related, sport related, wrestling related, topics that they want to go over, or fantasy football questions, as well as anything in general, picture-wise, let me know, and I got you. Here we go. Brantonio, he says, I'll be about that life. He says, what do you feel the biggest problem with Denver's Broncos currently right now? Nathaniel Hackett, no doubt. This is the first time Russell Wilson has had an offensive-minded coach in his career. He had a defensive-minded coach, obviously, and NC State. Then he went to Wisconsin, and it was obviously defensive-minded. Then Pete Carroll, defensive-minded, and now he's finally offensive-minded. So Nathaniel Hackett was an OC. Now he's being the head coach, and you can definitely tell that he doesn't know clock management. He might be out of his element, maybe bit off more than he can chew. Letting all that time run out in that first game against the Seahawks, you can just tell that Russ also, to me, looks hurt. He doesn't look 100% to me, and it's going to take time for him to get kind of comfortable with the new offense. It may even take a year or two. Not that Russ is stupid, because he's not, but you also have to have better offensive line, better defense. It's not like Von Miller's there anymore. So it's a combination of Nathaniel Hackett, Russell Wilson playing poorly, and maybe possibly having a lingering injury to that thumb, and not knowing the playbook and the offense as well. Offensive line not playing good. Defense, even though they've been putting up some top 10 stats, defense at times doesn't look good. And then obviously wide receivers and running backs need to step up. And you just had Javonte Williams tear an ACL, so he's out. So they picked up Latavius Murray, but Melvin Gordon has been fumbling a lot. I think he's already got 4 fumbles. That's not good. So when the offensive is, weapons are making a mistake, and Russ is not really playing like Russ yet, and then the coaching is bad, defense isn't really doing their job all the time, even though they have put up top 10 stats from time to time. I think that's kind of what I'm looking at. It's, the Minnesota Vikings, I thought were going to break out, and I thought Denver could break out, but Nathaniel Hackett has really disappointed me. I thought he would be much better transitioning from OC to head coach, just like I knew Kevin O'Connell would take that Vikings team and make them better instantly, and he has, and they still have a chance to beat the Packers for the North. But the Broncos, with everything being said, right now you're starting to see the Raiders not really playing very well on the offensive line and the defense, even though they beat the Broncos. Chargers are banged up, so I don't know. We'll have to kind of wait and see. I would assume the Chiefs and the Chargers will be the 2 teams that make the playoffs. Broncos at this point, and Raiders, they look like they're not. But you never know. They could turn things around in a heartbeat, but we just have to kind of wait and see. But that's a good question. And I'll throw up a photo. This guy right here, I was like, I know he loves gold, loves Austin Powers. And, him and Aaron Rodgers' personality just being kind of weird and goofy, it meshed. And Russ is just corny. So I think it's just one of those things where Russ thinks he's funnier than he is, and he does a lot of it for marketing, I think, also as well. Like Kanye and Antonio Brown, fly like a butterfly, sting like AB. I feel like Antonio Brown, Kanye, sometimes they say shit just to get a reaction. And they're not as crazy or dumb as they look. It's all kind of strategy, because they know if they say something wild and crazy, they're already perceived crazy, and they're going to get clicks. And even though maybe AB's got CTE, maybe they're on drugs and they need meds, or maybe they both need meds, and maybe when they're off their meds or they're drinking on drugs, they're going crazy. But Aaron Rodgers and Hackett, they had a good kind of bond. Russell Wilson is a different personality. It's going to take time, but like I said, I think the number one reason that the Broncos are not doing well, it's right there. It's Nathaniel Hackett. It's under that leadership. That's my personal thing. It's not necessarily all Russ. Russ definitely doesn't look like Russ, but again, you have to have a good O-line. You have to have a good running game. You know what I mean? And like when Matthew Stafford joined the Rams, they had a championship caliber team. When Tom Brady joined the Buccaneers, it was a championship caliber team. So that's why I thought, it might take 1 to 3 years. It could be year 1 if everything, like if Russ was the old Russ and Hackett was great like he was in Green Bay, then I thought, okay, maybe the Broncos could be 1st or 2nd or 3rd in, the AFC West. But after playing the Seahawks and seeing all those dumb calls, going for 2 when you shouldn't, in the first 3 quarters instead of the 4th quarter, not having clock management, letting a minute run off, and not knowing what the fuck you're doing. Offensive line is underwhelmed. Wide receivers and tight ends have underwhelmed. Russ is underwhelmed. Defense is every single piece of the Broncos has not lived up to the expectations. And when it's a competitive NFL and a competitive AFC, but I do think that Denver will figure it out, but they're not a Super Bowl contender this year. It might take them a couple years. Also have to have a couple better drafts, some more free agents, and they need guys like Bradley Chubb and Von Miller, but they just need more than, Von's not there anymore. So you need like 3 Brad Chubbs, 3 Bradley Chubbs. You need some better linebackers. You need to get another Von Miller type of player. You need to be able to beef up that defense, because normally when Denver's good, they run the football really well and they have great defense. And if they don't have that, then that's what you see right now with Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett, because you're not getting the help. Broncos could get bailed out by a great running game and a great defense. And if it's not there, you get fucking exposed. And that's what you're seeing right now. Head coach, play calling, time management, clock management, Russell Wilson not playing well. Also might be possibly hurt a little bit, and also not knowing the offense yet and not having his teammates step up, and a lot of his footballs don't look good coming out of his hand. His mechanics look all fucked up. So we'll have to wait and see if it's a Russell thing, a Hackett thing, or a both kind of thing. And I think it's kind of both right now. Oh, absolutely not. You can be 30 years old and head coach in the NFL. You could be even someone that's 29. I really feel that if you got the mind and the maturity, everyone, is different. You can be an old soul in a young body. You know what I mean? Like for me, I thought I could do TV, radio, or podcasting, in my teens or 20s. Obviously I've gotten much better over the years, and I've been grinding on this for 10, but I've always, had that passion and that energy. But, just because someone is young doesn't mean that they can't do the job. Sometimes people get thrown in, this guy was an OC. So if he was a head coach going over, maybe they would be able to have more success. But nowadays, they like to be able to bring guys that were play callers and make them the head coach, and then they can decide, I'm the head coach and the play caller, or I'm the head coach now, and I'm going to give up the play calling duties to someone like a Josh McDaniels, or I'm going to give it up to someone like Eric Bieniemy. Where I know I'm good, but if I focus on just being a leader and this guy focuses only on calling the plays, maybe we'll be more successful. But at this point, Hackett and maybe his system, maybe not having the same kind of personnel, comparing the Packers and Broncos, it's not the same team, at all. So, but I think that if the run game was better and the defense was better, it would help mask some of the problems that they've had. But Russell's getting exposed. The defense is not working. Offensive line is bad. And now Javonte Williams is out for the year, so they're fucked. And then the guy that you have running the ball now is Melvin Gordon. He's a fumble machine. He's fumbled already like 4 or 5 times. That's not good. Then you're bringing in Latavius Murray, which I assume will be the new starter, but they need to get him acclimated to the playbook. It's just not looking good right now for the Denver Broncos at all. I got a couple good friends that, like my boy Justin, that's my Mariner buddy that I travel with. He's one of my best friends. He's a die-hard Bronco guy, and he's been that way since the 80s. So it's like, he's been a fan for a long time, the John Elway era. And I told him, man, I thought maybe, if you and Hackett and obviously the Vikings and O'Connell, you guys can do it immediately. We might be able to see both teams surprise people, as like the surprise teams in the AFC and NFC. And I think the Vikings are living up to being that sleeper team, and the Broncos are not. And now injuries are taking a toll. And when your team already is having problems, that's the last thing that you want, is to have your potential top 12 running back in the league have this fucking problem. He could have been maybe top 10 in stats if he could have got progressed along. Javonte Williams was one of those guys that they thought was a top 15 back, but could have top 10 fantasy stats. But now we'll never know because he got hurt. So I'm very, very unfortunate. But we'll have to kind of wait and see. But no, I don't think he's too young at all. But like I said, maybe bring in an OC instead of a head coach for the Broncos. Maybe that is. And if he, if they can't figure it out, within a couple years and you're going to be fired, you don't get 5 years to figure it out. You typically get like 3 or less. So, it's like, what have you done for me lately type of league. So we'll see. But that's a great question. And that's a good question as well. But no, I don't think so, because we've had guys like John Gruden that have come over and won me a Super Bowl for Tampa Bay. So everyone is, has a different maturity level. And bottom line, some guys are better leaders than others, and other guys are better play callers than others. So it just depends on what you're trying to do. Maybe, trying to be the play caller and head coach is too much for him, and it looks like it is. Maybe he just needs to be the OC, but you got hired as the head coach. So maybe you need to have someone next year call the plays for you, but knowing maybe his ego, maybe he won't want to do that. And he'd rather just be the head coach and the play caller and fall on his own sword and to get fired if doing it his way. It all depends. Dan Reeves and Mike Shanahan. Well, I don't know if this guy's good enough to be a Mike Shanahan, or a Dan Reeves for that matter. This guy might get fired in a year or two. I had high expectations, for him and Kevin O'Connell, and just based off his relationship with Aaron and his play calling. And, I was like, okay, well, if you got Aaron to get double MVPs, obviously you're very talented at what you do, but maybe just being a head coach was just, it's not the, maybe just too much for him to bite off, to call plays and to be a leader. Some guys can do it. Some guys can't, It's like Josh McDaniels might be better off just being a play caller, but now he's going to give it a try, and maybe McDaniels will work. Maybe it won't. We'll see. But I think it'll work out better than it did the first time when he was with Denver, McDaniels. You just got to give some, teams patience. And when you're in the AFC West, there's not going to be a whole lot of patience. Yeah, good ones and bad ones. So, obviously if you're looking at head coaches, all right. So I'll go down the head coaches. All right, let's go through some of the head coaches here. So I'll just kind of go through what I feel. So Matt Eberflus for Chicago Bears, an F. Obviously, had some success with the Colts, but the Bears are the Bears. It doesn't matter who the fuck goes there. If you don't give Justin Fields the proper help at wide receiver, tight end, offensive line, and defense, he's never going to pan out. I would not be shocked if Eberflus gets fired sooner than later. Mike McDaniel for the Dolphins. Obviously, that was a good surprise, but you handled the whole Tua situation horribly. And, I think that they can make the playoffs, or at least it looked like they could. But now with Tua, brain damage, CTE, concussions, and, coming from Ross, the owner, and obviously Flores, now with Mike McDaniel. And I don't think Mike McDaniel is a bad guy. He was the OC for the Niners. Really smart guy. But just the Dolphins organization is kind of in shambles now. I think that they were on pace to make a wild card starting off, 3-0. But depending on if Tua can even play or not, they might miss the playoffs, just having to kind of cater to Tua's brain and not having a quarterback that can be as good as Tua out there. But starting off the season, McDaniel looked like an A+. But now with the whole Tua situation and how that was handled, now that's probably, like a C now. Just, it's like there's potential for Miami to make the playoffs, but you really fucked over your quarterback. Should have never had him play after that initial concussion. Kevin O'Connell, Vikings. I think he's been doing really well. I mean, like I said, I told you guys that I thought he could be the sleeper coach because he was the OC for the Rams, helped him win the Super Bowl, and Minnesota. They're going to have their good games and their bad games, and Kirk Cousins isn't great, but you have Thielen and Justin Jefferson, Cook, Madison, a defense that's been getting better. It's going to be a work in progress, but there's a chance that Minnesota can win 10 to 13 games this year and obviously compete with Green Bay on the screen with obviously former OC Nathaniel Hackett. They'll be competing with that particular team for the NFC North. Brian Daboll for the Giants. Brian Daboll did pretty well. No one really expected anything from the Giants. Still, it's the New York Football Giants, but the main reason Daboll is having success, 2 words, Saquon Barkley. If they didn't have a healthy Saquon Barkley, they wouldn't be competing in games, and I would know because I have Saquon Barkley in fantasy, and him and Nick Chubb are the number 1 and number 2 running backs in the league, and your boy drafted both of them. So let's throw up a Saquon photo. Try to get a few photos up as we're going over some of these players. But see, this is what it's about. You guys asking questions. I've given you my take, and it's good. Sometimes we need to do that. So most of the time I'm calling a game, and it's nice to be able to, go into discussion a little bit. There we go, baby. It's a lot more than just the field goal, though. It's going for it on 4th down. It's a lot of stuff that's going on, in the organization. But Brian Daboll, like I said, Saquon's healthy. You can rely on him. But like I said, they don't really have a lot of pieces, at wide receiver, tight end. Everything needs an upgrade. Offensive line, defense. And so maybe Daboll will be able to keep his job as long as Saquon stays healthy. If he stays healthy for the whole year, Maybe the Giants get close to 9 or 10 wins, believe it or not. Anything is possible in the NFC East. The best team is the Eagles, but you never know what you're going to get out of the Giants, Washington, or the Cowboys. I mean, shit, Cooper Rush is winning games, so, nobody really knows what's going on. Brian Dable, not bad because of Saquon Barkley. Nathaniel Hackett gets an F for me. Best situation of any first, year coach, but he's done the poorest. Skill and talent everywhere, but high expectations, but not very, very good. To me, this guy definitely gets an F so far for me. Dennis Allen, I like him as a head coach for the Saints. It's just they've just been, just riddled with injuries, so I don't really think it's Dennis Allen's fault that the Saints are losing a lot of these games. Matt Rule for the Panthers, he's gone. Matt Rule is gone. He's got to find another job. He's fired sooner than later, and they got to get someone better than Baker. That shit is not working. Arthur Smith for the Falcons. Oh, man, Falcons. I don't know really what to think about the Falcons. I think they're, kind of up and coming, but I don't think that they have the right coach there, personally. We'll have to kind of wait and see, but I would assume Smith will be fired sooner than later. Josh McDaniels from the Raiders. I thought that, starting off 0-3 is tough, but it shows you it's not necessarily all his fault. I feel that the offensive line that he inherited in the defense is garbage. So when you have a bad O-line and a bad defense, even if you have Carr and Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller and Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow, even though he's been hurt, you're not going to be able to manufacture wins against teams if you don't have an O-line or a defense. You can try to throw it as much as you like, but eventually defenses are going to sag off, and you're going to be throwing a lot of picks, and that's really what's happened. They've only had one real big game last week with Josh Jacobs, which was nice, but Josh McDaniels has got a long ways to go, but I wouldn't fire him. I do think he is the right coach for the Raiders after you moved on from John Gruden. I do like Josh McDaniels sitting there for the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, next up we got Lovie Smith for the Houston Texans. So for Lovie Smith, he had a good run back in the day, but I mean, it's kind of just like a guy that they threw into the position. I don't really think Lovie Smith's that great of a coach, and I would assume he'd be, fired sooner than later, but I mean, he's done okay with the weapons that he has, and Davis Mills is actually not that bad of a quarterback. They don't have a whole lot of talent, but the Texans and Jags have played better than expected, and the Colts and Titans have played worse. Todd Bowles with Tampa. He's the right coach, taking over for Bruce Arians. He gets a second opportunity since he was a New York Jet, Jets, Jets. But again, with Todd Bowles, we don't have an offensive line. Well, our whole wide receiving core has been pretty much hurt. It's hard to be able to do great things with Tom Brady going through a divorce with Giselle. That doesn't make it any easier. Tampa's got a lot of drama right now. Tom with the divorce, no O-line, offensive weapons are injured. Defense is relatively healthy, and that's what's been carrying the load for us. But with all that being said, Tom still is good enough to get us to an NFC championship game and a Super Bowl because it's Tom Brady in the defense and Bowles, even though my offensive line is fucked up and wide receivers staying, injured here and there, but Mike Evans is back. Godwin is back. I don't really give a shit about Julio or Cole Beasley. Hey, you tried. It didn't work out. Now you're retired. I hope you have a great, retirement, but we'll see. But I think Todd Bowles is the right one. Robert Saleh from the 49ers, defensive coordinator. Now you have Zach Wilson, so I think you're the right coach. Zach Wilson obviously got that special win for you against the Steelers, and look for the Jets to get better and better and better. Don't be surprised in the next 3 years if the New England Patriots finish in last and the Jets leapfrog them. You already know Miami can do it, but now they have the Tua situation. But if Miami can get a new quarterback and get rid of Tua, maybe Lamar Jackson, and then the Jets keep improving, there's a chance where Miami and the Jets will be better than New England in the next 3 years. New England's kind of on a downhill kind of slide, and I do like what the Jets are doing. They got a lot of talent. Garrett Wilson from Ohio State, they're on the up and up. They just had some injuries on that offensive line, but I do like Zach Wilson. I know he likes to go for the Cougars, and maybe he'll hit up Giselle, but I do like what I'm seeing out of the Jets. And Saleh, it's the Jets. What do you expect? Nothing, and you hope for the best, and that's big facts. Mike McCarthy, I don't like him with him and Kellen Moore for the Cowboys, but as long as Cooper Rush is winning, you're going to keep a job. Jerry's not going to fire you as long as the Cowboys are winning, and they're winning under crazy circumstances with no Dak. So Amari Cooper's gone, and they feel it, but the defense is one of the best in the league, top 5 in the league. I got him in fantasy. I should know, and I got the Bills as well. But McCarthy, you're lucky you got a Dan Quinn, and you're going to be able to keep your job sooner than later because of Dan Quinn. That's big facts. Ron Rivera from the Commandos. I'm not really a big fan of the Commandos in general. You're going to have ups and downs with that team, and it looks like more than likely you'll be a team that probably finishes with 7 to 9 wins. It looked like if Wentz could keep it up fantasy-wise, that maybe you could get to 10, but there's just too much inconsistency, and whenever they play a good defense, the offensive line can never hold their own. Nick Sirianni, you could say that he could be coach of the year for the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's get a Sirianni photo. But a lot of it has to do with just the organization, obviously drafting well, the ownership with Howie Roseman, and obviously, moving from Dougie P to the Jags. And Sirianni, I never really was a true believer in Sirianni. They didn't even run the football into November last year, but you got A.J. Brown, less pressure on Devontae Smith. You got Goddard. You're bringing in Georgia players on defense, Nakobe Dean, and obviously a few others. So it's looking good with Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean taking over in the future. And you got Fletcher Cox and Big Play Slay. So I do like what I'm seeing out of Nick Sirianni. But it's almost like I'm not really sure it's him. It's really just the talent that they have and what's happening, but you do got to give him credit.
So let's see what Smart has to say. See the man that's before here. He was upset that he was shot last week. The most idiotic thing I've ever seen. Oh, congratulations on your whole #1 selling t-shirt on NWSF.com. Congratulations, Billy. Now some more kids can go to school. Get suspended again in this decade like they did 2 ago. These are your tag champ role models you want for your children. These guys, right? You know what? Those 2 tag team championships.
What up, Shep? How are you? What's good? Said quick drive-by. Hell yeah, appreciate you. Mr. Williams in the building. Shep in the building. Appreciate you guys. Now we're just going over coaches. Just letting the fans, just do kind of a Q&A and anything that they want to go over. So I'm just going over the coaches and how I feel. But in the very first year, Sirianni led his team to the playoffs. Now they got to decide if they want to keep Jalen or move on. And I told everyone I thought he was Dak 2.0. A lot of the young Eagle fans wanted to give up on Jalen, but now they turned their point of view, and now they're like, oh, dog, you were right. Well, if you end up having someone other than Devontae Smith as the one after winning the Heisman, too much pressure. He's more of a wide receiver too, and you just need a better running game. But Miles Sanders is, good enough for now. And you're obviously the only undefeated team left. You're 4-0. You're going to win the NFC East, and there's a chance to win a playoff game. And you lost the Bucs last year, and maybe an NFC Championship game berth within the first 3 years, and it could be as soon as this year. They could go to the Super Bowl this year. There is a chance, if the Eagles overachieve, they're playing great. But at this point, as long as they don't have any serious injuries, the Eagles look like a team that you could almost pencil in to the NFC Championship game as one of the teams that could get there. You got the Rams, but they haven't been as good. Bucks were injured. Packers don't look the same. Niners don't look the same. Saints didn't really improve. Vikings are still kind of brand new. So this is the team. Will it be the Eagles and Bucks, the Eagles and the Rams, Eagles and Packers, Eagles and someone else, Niners? We'll have to wait and see. But I do like Sirianni, but I wasn't really a big fan his rookie first season because he didn't run the football enough, but I think he's finding himself now. And as long as his players believe in him and the message doesn't get lost, he should be there for a while, and they should have a lot of success. And I knew that, the Eagles and the Vikings were going to have success early on, and we're seeing it already. Yeah, but I don't think Lovie Smith has any expectations. When the Texans hired him, they just hired a guy. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that he was brought in there to be like, well, we got to win the AFC South. You know what I mean? Like, he's just a coach. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have, they have DeAndre Hopkins. They don't have J.J. Watt. They don't have Whitney Merciless. They don't have a lot of the pieces that they had back then. You know what I mean? They don't have Deshaun Watson. Thank God. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different type of thing. But yeah, I can see what you're saying but I don't think that they have a whole lot of expectations for Lovey. They just want him to be kind of like the grandpa, kind of like the guy looking out for the team. But like, I'm not really sure if the whole team believes in Lovey and his message. You know what I mean? He had some success with the Bears and a little bit with Tampa, but he's just kind of a guy. You know what I mean? Like a guy that's definitely expendable. Will you get to the playoffs with Lovey Smith? Honestly, no. You know what I mean? But will he be able to influence some of those guys in that locker room? Yes. And obviously it's awesome because it's an African-American hire. Love it. We need more brothers and sisters and more Mexicans and Asians and blacks in the league. We need more diversity in the league. And then they do the Rooney rule, but that's a bunch of bullshit and a conversation for another day. But it's nice to be able to see the brothers at head coach. I love seeing that. And I love being able to see females as assistants, as well as Asians and Mexicans that are getting a shot to be an assistant or a trainer. It's just good to have some diversity out there and different point of views. But for Sirianni, I like what I'm seeing from him, and he's done great. Dan Campbell biting kneecaps, right? I think that they have the weapons there, and they believe in him. And if you watch Hard Knocks, Dan Campbell's the guy. He's the guy that can get him to a wild card. Will it be this year? Will it be in the next 3 years? I don't know. But it seems like, after Aaron Rodgers leaves, the Bears are going to continue to suck. So it leaves room for the Lions and Vikings to pounce and catch up to the Packers. It just depends on who the Packers get at quarterback after Aaron Rodgers. Jordan Love, then you're going to catch up a lot quicker. If they decide to get rid of Jordan Love and get someone that's, better talent, then they might be looking up still at the Packers and the Vikings. But I do like Dan Campbell. It's a different, some people think he's a meathead and he's not smart. He actually is pretty smart. Even though some people think he's just kind of like those meathead jock guys that just works out and doesn't care about analytics. But he's got guys that do that for him. And he's got a good blend of former players. If you actually watch Hard Knocks, very inspiring. And look at Jared Goff. Look at Swift. Look at, some of the players, Jamal Williams, former Packer at running back. Amon-Ra St. Brown looks like he could be a fantasy superstar. Like down the road in fantasy, Amon-Ra St. Brown will be probably like one of the top 5 wide receivers picked. It'll be like Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Tyreek, and maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown will be like right after, like at number 6. He's that impactful as a number 1. And it just depends if they keep Goff or if they draft a quarterback in next year's draft, which is highly possible, just to see if they can get someone better than Goff. But the defense still needs work. The defense is bad, kind of like Seattle's. But the offense for the Lions in Seattle is very uplifting, very positive. I even picked up Geno Smith in fantasy, and I had Jared Goff in fantasy earlier this year. So I know what it's like to not necessarily pick guys based off name. I look at the stats, and I look at to see how they're playing with their head coach and their OC and the rest of the players, and if they actually are, doing something that maybe we haven't seen or doing better than we thought. Geno and that offense is playing a hell of a lot better than we thought. The defense is kind of bad like we thought. And the Lions are doing better on offense than we thought. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a superstar, and Goff is better than people think. Goff has been playing like a top 12 quarterback this year, right? But the defense is bad. So as long as the Lions and Seahawks can draft defense, who's to say in 3 years that both teams don't get to 10 wins and they have some impact guys? I mean, I could definitely see, if they keep working at it, maybe in like 2 to 3 years, there's injuries on the Rams. Aaron Donald's retired. Niners are up and down. You got to look at, how the Cardinals are doing, kind of wishy-washy. There'll be a room for Seattle, but it also depends on, is Pete Carroll and Schneider there in 3 years, or are they retired or fired? And is Dan Campbell there? Or did they fire him? So I hope they keep this pieces in line, but they need to focus on defenses. But like I said, with Dan Campbell, I like what I've seen out of him. And when you watch Hard Knocks and you feel that energy, it's a real thing. Let's throw up a Dan Campbell. I got to throw one up for him. And Dan Campbell looks like a Pop Warner coach. That's why I like him. He looks like a guy like a Pop Warner, high school, college coach. Like, he just has that look as just like nitty gritty. You have to work hard, and I'm not going to let you cut corners kind of guy. And I respect that.
Happens to be two of you. And Rampage on Friday. What do you guys think? You know what? Perfect. Because as Jericho always say, sports entertainers always beats pro wrestlers.
Shout out to Dan Campbell. You know what I mean? I didn't really know what to expect. I was really, really rooting for him. You know what I mean? But sometimes it's like when you got guys like Jared Goff and, you know that he was pretty good with the Rams, but he had a lot of talent around him. Now we're starting to realize that Jared Goff actually isn't that bad of a quarterback. If you've watched the Lions play this year, Jared Goff might be the most underrated quarterback in the NFL besides Geno Smith. Like those two guys, I've really surprised a lot of people. Now, can they keep it up for the whole year? I don't know. But so far, those are the two guys that have impressed me the most. I feel, just based on people talking shit about Goff. And, some people want to root for the Lions. Some people don't give a shit. But I am really rooting for Goff. And like I said, for Dan Campbell. And if they decide to get rid of Goff, I'll take him in Tampa Bay. Like, you know what I mean? I've seen enough out of him where I know he's going to make some plays and make some mistakes, but he's more reliable than Baker Mayfield. He's more reliable than Jimmy G. You know what I mean? He's more reliable than some of those guys. So, and Jameis is injured. So Jared Goff to me is kind of maybe the new Cousins, Carr, Tannehill, where he's like outside the top 10, but not that far away from being a top 10 quarterback, like being 10th and like competing with like Dak or some of the other guys for being like the 10th or 11th or 12th best quarterback. So that's exciting, when you get guys like that. Now I got to throw up a Jared Goff because I want to make sure we show love for guys that if you don't follow fantasy football or if you don't follow the league, maybe as much as me, like a psychopath, and then you can get some kind of information where you're like, oh, okay, well, if O-Dog says it, it must be true. So I got to get a fire Goff. The best friend with Cooper Kupp, but found a new best friend in Stafford. But I'm rooting for the Lions. I root for the Lions, the Jags, and the Jets every year because Tampa was always in that category, and it sucked. And I hate fucking losing, and I hate fucking seeing teams lose. And, obviously with the Jets, you see some promise, Lions, and the Jags, all three. So it's like they don't really look like they're going to be bottom feeders for that long. Trevor Lawrence is there. Jared Goff is there. You got some pieces there. Zach Wilson is there. So, I mean, what's not to get excited about that? Goff playing good? I'll take it. Zach Wilson, I like it. I like Zach Wilson, and it's like, and then Trevor Lawrence is Trevor Lawrence. He's going to have bad games, but they drafted him number 1 for a reason because he's really fucking talented, even though he looks like a surfer, surfers up, dude, but he's got the look, but you know what? He's got the skill set. And Dougie P's been really fucking good for them too. That's facts. I'd have fired Jared Goff. I just like to be able to showcase guys that no other, YouTube channel will, you're not going to hear people unless it's like a Lions YouTuber. Ooh, baby. All right, Jared, I got you looking pimp. The Goffense, baby. Yeah, I started off the stream, Mr. Williams, the first hour doing food, and we didn't get enough people in here. And I figured after an hour, I just switched it up and just did like NFL. And then I figured more people, would come through and do that. Mr. Williams with a 13er. And thank you for stepping up on that other stream because it would have been really, really bad. And like I said, you saved the day. Thank you so much, man. Mr. Williams with a $13 dono on the Cash App, baby. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Shep, you too. Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, been taking Q&A. People have a topic. I'll go over my opinion, throw some pictures up. If we get into food later, fine. But sometimes you got to make those quick adjustments because if I would have stuck it with the food, the stream might have just got buried and there might be just like nobody here. You know what I mean? Like, even though I love food, and it just depends on who would have showed up while I was still doing the food. And if I would have went, 2, 3, 4 hours, but I'm good. Paisley's got a little bit of an eye thing. I don't know what's going on. It looks okay to me, but I got to be able to check on her and kind of check it out and whatnot. So hopefully I don't have to go to the vet. Otherwise, any donations I get will be going to a vet fee, I guess. But I don't know if the girlfriend's daughter let her eat something or she got an allergic reaction or something's wrong with her. But I don't know, something supposedly with her eye or her eye bone or something with her eyeball. I don't know. I can't see it, but I don't know. We'll have to check and see. But yeah, I'm doing good. I took Paisley for a walk, obviously for an hour this morning, and spent time with her all morning, and then watched the Mariners last game and a bunch of baseball, during the morning and the afternoon, watching AEW, Dynamite Now, and just talking to you guys and just grinding it out. Yeah, I like the no-nonsense attitude. He's the only one in the NFL that's like this. It's kind of refreshing because some people think he's a meathead, but this is what a football coach fucking is supposed to look like. And he had a lot of practice with Sean Payton being in that organization. So I really respect the guy. He worked with Dennis Allen and Sean Payton very closely, and he reminds you of a Pop Warner coach. Yells at you, go, 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 down on the ground, give me 10. But he won't necessarily be that much of an asshole. I mean, he'll be an asshole if he has to be, but he doesn't really want to be an asshole. He just wants to get the best out of his players, and people buy into his intensity. And if you're intense and you're real, he's a guy I could follow too. You know what I mean? Like, you have to believe in a guy that not just is raw, like some of these like little guy coaches that are just nerds, you know what I mean? Or grandpas. Sometimes it's good to have a guy that's like maybe middle-aged that, could be a guy that you could follow. And if he was going to go run into a wall, you're going to run into a wall with him, and he's the only guy in the NFL or college football that I've like, he gravitates towards people that are real. And I think that's why on HBO Hard Knocks, people that are real recognize real and like real. So if you're real in the room and you like this guy like I do, we're probably the same. You know what I mean? He's not going to float everyone's boat. Will he be able to get enough wins to save his job? I don't know. But what I do know is I like him, and I would have him on Tampa Bay or the Oregon Ducks in a fucking heartbeat. There we go, baby.
He's taking all his punishment, and he battled back. He might get a counter here, possibly. Hangman, maybe. Hangman catching a roost, a follow-away slam. He's got to try to follow up. See Hangman banging it now. Matt trying to get himself motivated. Tony, picture.
26. Let's get to a hundo. And then Sarah's been sick, so she left the stream. This is her second day. So I just told her, if you're not feeling well, it's quite okay. You can dip and, I want to make sure that she's healthy when we're going into baseball playoffs and wrestling, WWE pay-per-view on Saturday. So we're doing Thursday night football tomorrow, Colts versus Broncos. Then we're going to be doing some baseball playoffs on Friday. Then we're going to be doing baseball playoffs on Saturday, Mariners and Blue Jays. Then WWE pay-per-view on Saturday. And then NFL games on Sunday, Monday Night Football on Monday. I mean, it just doesn't quit. I just thought I'd, do something different and do like a food stream. But we just didn't have enough people in here, and then Sarah wasn't feeling well, so I just had to make that quick decision that I'm going to change the, I'm going to make a brand new thumbnail on the fly, change the title on the fly, and and just I think we can get more people this way, and it did. So, your boy, Cliff Kingsbury is up next. I don't think Kingsbury is a very good coach. Him and Kyler are overrated. They still might be able to make their way to the playoffs, at some point, but I'm not a fan of Kingsbury or Kyler. At all. They're okay. You know what I mean? I think Kyler might be the most overhyped. Lamar is so much better than him. Hopefully he gets better, but if Kingsbury gets fired, I don't think anyone in Arizona fan base is going to care. I'm not really big on Kingsbury. Brandon Staley for the Chargers. The things that I told you about is that Staley, the coaching and the play calling is questionable, and the injury bug is already hit, just like I said it would. And it's been like that for every year for like the last 10. Herbert got hurt. He's playing through cracked ribs, cracked rib cartilage. All the other players on the defense, you're having Joey Bosa go down. It's just heartbreaking because they have a team that can compete with the Bills and the Chiefs this year. But if they can't stay healthy, they're not going to be the third best team in the NFL or in the AFC. And that sucks because I'm a big Justin Herbert guy. You guys know I love him. But I'm not really big on Staley. He might be able to get them to a Super Bowl and save his job, kind of like Zach Taylor for the Bengals. I'm not really a big fan of his either, but he got his team there, so that's going to buy him some time. I don't think Staley's horrible. He's better than Anthony Lynn, but Staley to me takes too many gambles. He thinks he's Chip Kelly going for two, and they have too many injury problems. It's just, I don't know. I think Staley's the guy that could get you to the AFC championship game, but you might need to fire him to get you the guy that's going to get you over the top. Like, imagine just for a second if Sean Payton went to the Chargers. Like what could happen? Like Super Bowl, and he could possibly win it. If he goes to the Cowboys can't win a playoff game. You could with Sean Payton. So I don't know if Sean Payton is ever going to come back and coach for the Saints or Cowboys or Chargers, but I mean, I couldn't think of a better spot. I know he's got Cowboy ties and he can make them relevant, but you would have to be able to pick up another wide receiver because Gallup and CeeDee Lamb is not enough. Obviously with Dalton Schultz, you need that Amari Cooper, and they were dumb for not paying him. That was the dumbest thing that they did, Cowboys. And also the dumbest thing they did, keep McCarthy at head coach. Even though you're winning with Cooper Rush, anytime a head coach and a OC that would have been a head coach in Kellen Moore calls a draw with 15 seconds left and no timeouts when you're like on the 50, that deserves for you to be fired from football for life. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It is what it is, but I mean, I'm not really big on certain guys, and that's another one that I'm not too big on. So Brandon Staley, kind of have, lukewarm feelings there, but nothing too crazy. Well, I'm doing them in order, and I'm not there yet. I don't know. I just found some lists, and so I'm kind of going down the list based off the names. So trying to do every single coach. All right. Next up is Frank Reich for the Colts. Everything that you've seen through Chris Ballard and Frank Reich, they didn't, get enough free agents at wide receiver and tight end. You did draft some, but you didn't get free agents to come in to give you depth. Now Jonathan Taylor is hurt. Darius Leonard, a.k.a. Shaq Leonard, has been hurt. They're not winning games. Matt Ryan is fumbling. You did try to do the Band-Aid thing. Obviously, you did it with Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, and now Matt Ryan when you guys should have drafted a quarterback. Both guys need to be fired, the GM and Frank Reich, immediately. That's facts. Kevin Stefanski for the Browns. I'm not really a big fan of the Browns or Stefanski, but when he was a play caller for the Vikings, we saw big things because that's what helped them get past the Saints in the Minneapolis Miracle. Stefanski has got a lot of skills, but it's just the Cleveland Browns. I know you got Nick Chubb and you got Kareem Hunt, so that's good. You will have Deshaun Watson when he comes back, week 11, week 12. So they do have, I don't know if it's going to be a bright future. It's brighter than what it has been. But Jacoby Brissett hasn't been playing that bad. So with Stefanski, you're going to be able to keep your job more than likely just because of the talent that's surrounding you. Dougie P. It's just like Sirianni. I mean, this is a guy that probably will get Coach of the Year conversations and Doug Peterson, just like Sirianni. Let's get Doug Peterson's photo up. Because anytime you can be the worst team in football 2 years in a row and you start winning games early, that's a good sign, for the franchise not being the worst team in the league this year for 3 years in a row. Obviously, it wasn't a fit for, head coach there for Ohio State and Urban Meyer coming in, but I think Dougie P might be a good fit. And I was a little skeptical too.
Smoke and drink under the bridge outside. On October 18th, there will be one last man standing here in AEW. "13 days, cowboy. I'm gonna leave my house."
Got Moxley and Adam Hangman Page.
Choke you until you turn blue, because you're in the way of me being the one true top guy here in AEW and the world champion and the best in the world.
Yeah, but certain guys need to get credit, where credit is due. And Dougie P, he's a Super Bowl winner, returns to the sideline after a year away in 2021. Obviously, his experience with the Eagles and winning the Super Bowl, he can bring that, encouragement and that knowledge to Trevor Lawrence. And you've seen Trevor Lawrence blossom from year 1 to year 2. He helped find Carson Wentz a near MVP early in the career. So I know he can develop, Trevor Lawrence. And I like what I'm seeing. And like I said, the Jags might be able to win the division. I know it sounds crazy, but the Texans still are going to be kind of bad. The Colts are tanking. Titans are going to be their biggest threat. But if the Titans have any serious injuries, the Jags could take advantage. I never would have thought that going into the year, but Dougie P has been much better as a head coach than anyone ever expected. It's awesome to see. Like I said, I like to root for the Jags, the Jets, and the Lions. Those are my three that I really like to root for just because they normally are bad. And Tampa was normally in that category as well. So we got to throw up a little Trevor Lawrence love. And then we talked about Zach Taylor. Not really a fan of Zach Taylor. Like, I think he's okay, kind of like Staley for the Chargers. But if their teams continue to do great with Burrow and Herbert, you might be able to keep your job just because those guys are doing so well. But he needs to show consistency, otherwise Zach Taylor will get fired. But God, you went to a Super Bowl, so you're going to be safe for a little bit. Mike Vrabel. So with Vrabel, I think Vrabel has done a pretty damn good job since he's been there. Gone through a lot of adversity. They're always slept on, and sometimes they get the number one seed in the AFC, and people don't give them the respect. But until they actually win an AFC championship game or get to a Super Bowl, that's what it might take. Sometimes people think they might be pretenders, but to get first place takes a lot of talent. And like I said, I like what he's done, but they've had some injuries, and you don't have A.J. Brown anymore. It's going to be a learning curve. Hopefully Malik will get out there sooner than later. Pickett's already getting in. Malik will be next. Then Desmond Ridder for the Falcons sometime at the end of the year or the beginning of next year. But you got to just be able to have a healthy Derrick Henry, know your identity. Defense needs to be better. O-line needs to be better. But I see, some promise here. And with the Colts playing bad and the Texans being bad, the biggest threat to the Titans is the Jags. So as long as you just do you, the Titans should be able to win the AFC South now. Unless the Jags, get really hot at the right time, which is possible. But I like where the direction of those two teams are going. And once the Colts maybe get rid of Ballard, get rid of, Ballard and Reich, and then get the proper draft picks and a CJ Stroud, Bryce Young kind of guy, then we can talk about the Colts being good again. But they have to get better wide receivers and tight end depth. And that was the thing I was telling Sarah. I was worried because, we thought the Colts they're normally good, like a 10-win team normally. But, this year it's just, they didn't have the ending they wanted with Carson Wentz, and the lack of depth at wide receiver and tight end is killing them. That's facts. Sean McDermott for the Buffalo Bills. We'll throw him up here. We're almost done with the list. And then we'll go into some other topics. Just wanted to go through everyone, since we're here and we're doing this, right? Might as well. I just can't talk about like one or two and just dip. This is a good time for it. I love coaching too. It's like one of my favorite things. Like, I really like to analyze a lot out of the head coach, the OC and the DC, the ownership, the GM. I follow that stuff a lot. I think I follow that more than any other person, like on YouTube or Twitch. Like, I'm a defensive guy. I like, special teams and offensive line, but coaching is everything. That is big facts. But Sean McDermott's done a great job. He's got all the necessary ingredients. You got Dalvin Cook's, cousin James Cook, but he has a fumbling problem. They still need someone better than Singletary, Zach Moss, and any of these guys they bring in. But at some point, they got to get their Josh Jacobs, kind of player, Nick Chubb kind of player. And once they do, then the Buffalo Bills will win the Super Bowl. I know you can get, runs with Josh Allen, but that's really the one weakness in their team, as well as their defense right now is number one in the top five, but typically number one, but they have injuries and a lot of guys are banged up, like half the starters. So even though they're playing Pittsburgh, I know they're going to do well, but if they had their full health on their team, this is like probably the Super Bowl winner. But now, since their defense, half the lineup is injured, 5 out of 11, now there's going to be teams that are going to compete with Buffalo. And you saw it with Lamar. If they had a better defense, they would have won that game. They just needed a couple more players like a T Sizzle or a Nata or an Ed Reed, and they would have beat the Bills. But they didn't have those guys out there, and that's a problem. Right? But the Bills are getting exposed a little bit, but it still might be the team that wins the Super Bowl, gets to the Super Bowl, AFC Championship game. It's almost a lock for them. Sean McDermott. Next up, Pete Carroll. So we'll throw up a Pete Carroll for Megan. Pete Carroll's actually done a pretty damn good job overall with the team. Gino has been great. I picked him up in fantasy, and obviously, you know me, I don't pick up people that I wouldn't throw in the lineup. So for me to be able to throw up a Geno Smith in my lineup, that must mean that, I got Justin Herbert and I have choices between like Kirk Cousins. I got choices between Zach Wilson and a lot of these guys, that are just like borderline bench guy that, you could have to back up your starter just in case. But let's be honest, Geno's been playing fantastic. He's number 9 in fantasy, points. He's playing like a top 10 quarterback. And obviously he's going to have good games and he's going to have bad games against good defenses. But for those mid-level teams, he will excel. And so I'm literally looking forward to him ripping up the bad teams, doing better than people think against the mid-level teams that have pretty good offense, pretty good defense. And he will do bad when he plays against a good defense. Like if you look at his fantasy stats, when he plays a good defense, he's probably going to get 10 points in fantasy, which is pretty bad, 8, 9, 10. But when he's on, it might be 25 to 40. When it's like decent against an average offense and defense, probably 17 to like 20. So that's good. You want that. So it's like, I'm going to get bad stats, but I won't play him against the really, really good defenses. But for the mid-level teams and for the really bad defenses, I can throw him in there. Shit, he put up like 35 points in fantasy. So if you can throw that up, Kirk Cousins probably won't be able to throw up a 35 in a season, even though he's got Jay Jetta and, he's got Adam Thielen. I got both those guys in fantasy, and I drafted Kirk Cousins, but, he's got limitations to his game. He's Kirk Cousins. He's not going to throw for 400 or 500 yards. Otherwise, that would be fantastic for me in fantasy, but still, I can get my 15 to 30 points from each receiver. You're just not going to get 30 to 40 points out of the quarterback. You're going to get those points to the wide receiver. The quarterback, he's usually going to sit like between 15 and 25. And when he plays bad, Cousins will be like, kind of like maybe a Geno when you're sitting at 8 or 9 or 10, but that's standard for any quarterback that really plays a really good, defense. But yeah, not bad. You know what I mean? They played much better than expected, and it all started off with playing their Super Bowl against Russell Wilson in the game number 1. You couldn't have scripted a better game to gain confidence from than playing Russ on his new team coming into your building, and you won. So that if you can win that, you can win anything. That's at least the mindset in Seattle. If you can beat, even though we know the Broncos aren't the Bills or the Chiefs or like the Buccaneers or like one of the top dogs, but it doesn't matter. That was their Super Bowl. They're going to win some. They're going to lose some. Like when you played the Falcons, you probably thought you could win that, but that's just how it goes in football. Sometimes you win those games that you shouldn't, maybe like in that Denver game, and maybe you lose games that you shouldn't, like the Falcons. Like should have won that game, but that's what happens in football. You can't do it just based off team recognition, based off them just being good or bad in general. Like normally the Falcons are bad, so you're like, fuck them, we're going to win. And then you lose, and you're like, what the hell happened? That's football for you. That's why we love the NFL. It's the most unpredictable out of any sport. But they've done well, much better than anticipated. But it shows you they need to keep beefing up that O-line. And then their other tackle, that's a rookie that's been doing pretty well, also hasn't given up a sack. So it's like, okay, you got Charles Cross, you got some guys on the line, you got DK, you got Lockett, you got pieces, just need to beef up the defense, and then you're in business. And a couple more offensive linemen, beef up the defense, and we're in business. And that's not, I always call it how I see it. I'm not going to be biased. If a team's good, they're good. If their team is bad, I'll let you know. But I think everyone, including Seahawks fans, you're optimistic. I never thought that Geno would play this good, but it's a great thing to see, if you're a Seahawks fan. But also, too, you got to be careful because it's like, okay, are you going for the playoffs? Are you going for a draft pick? Or are you going to be somewhere in between? And so, but even if you're somewhere in between, it's giving Geno confidence that if that's the guy next year, then you don't have to pick quarterback, and then you can get another, like the best offensive lineman in the draft instead of going for the best quarterback or second best or third best. You know what I mean? You have to really make a decision. Like, is this the future? If he keeps playing great, he will be. He could be this. If he keeps playing like he's been playing, he will be the starter next year. And then they'll just get the best offensive lineman from like Georgia or Bama that's like fucking 7 foot and like 500 pounds and that just knocks over whoever's on the other side, right? They're going to get that beast. But if he is shaky, then they will move off of him and maybe he'll compete for the job and, maybe they'll give it to him until he loses it. And then the rookie will come in like a CJ Stroud or something like that. But so far I've been impressed and I like what I see. So you can kind of see my list, like disappointed here. This is the biggest disappointment Jameson wanted to go over, right? And And I like what I'm seeing with the Giants with Dable, but it's because Saquon. I mean, I got Saquon and Chubb in fantasy, and it's 1-2. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I picked Chubb when there were 6 or 7 guys ahead of him. You know what I mean? After, I got my first player when I went number 2 overall and picked Justin Jefferson because I knew he was going to have a big season. But there was a lot of other running backs that were rated higher. But I look at the stats for the career, and I looked at what did each person do every single year. And obviously we know Saquon has had the injury bug, but when he was sitting there like in the 5th round, I was like, I think he's going to be healthy. I watched him in preseason. I watched him interview. Is it a chance that he still gets hurt this year? Yeah, but he's not hurt yet. And he looks awesome. He's like literally the best running back in the league right now, him and Chubb. And then Chubb averages 8 touchdowns a year, even splitting carries with Kareem Hunt, which is the most consistent running back in the NFL. So I look at that. So I don't look at just like people that are rated higher. I look at consistency and real stats. And it's worked out for me because I got the 2 best running backs in fantasy, and that never happens. You never, ever in fantasy see someone with the best 2 on the same team. It just doesn't happen. But Saquon and Run CMC, Christian McCaffrey's value was down because they're always injured all the time. And, you could get those guys maybe a little bit lower instead of being picked like 1 or 2 when they're healthy. They haven't been healthy in a long time. So those guys went lower, and Saquon really went low. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a chance, and I think it's going to work. And it has. But like I said, some coaches work out as OC, but I don't like what I'm seeing so far in Denver, but it's first year. Everyone wants instant gratification. So give it time. I'll give this guy 3 years. And if you don't get it done in 3 years, then they're going to move on. They might move on in 2, depending on how bad this year is and next year with Russ. But we definitely got to give Sirianni love. He still hasn't figured it out completely, even though they are 4-0. But this does look like one of the teams that will be in the NFC Championship game, barring any serious injuries. Dan Campbell, the guy that's probably the most relatable coach in the NFL, a guy that actually looks like a Pop Warner high school coach, a guy that lifts weights, and some people think he's a meathead, but he's probably the most real motherfucker on planet Earth. So that's why people really connect with him. And that's why I'm rooting for him. A lot of people in the room are rooting for him because if you're real recognizes real. And yeah, he might not be the smartest guy out there, but he's got analytics guys out there working with him. And I like Hard Knocks, and everything I saw looked amazing. So shout out to Sirianni for, figuring it out. And obviously with Howie Roseman, you guys had a bad problem of drafting, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside and Jalen Reagor when you could have had Justin Jefferson and DK Metcalf. And most people would never forgive you for that, right? It's like the Blazers, me picking Sam Bowie over Michael Jordan or picking Kevin Durant over Greg Oden, right? But we didn't get Kevin Durant. We got Greg Oden. That's horrible. We picked Sam Bowie. We didn't get Jordan. What could have been? But you guys are turning it around and getting people like A.J. Brown to come. And I'm telling you, people are going to want to come to Philly. They're going to win the NFC East like I predicted. And I told you that they were going to be a great team. And here they are. I'm not surprised one bit. And I'm really rooting for Dan Campbell and Jared Goff and the Goffettes. And Jared Goff, again, is better than people are giving him credit for. He's playing like a top 12 quarterback in the league. And honestly, if you have Goff and Cousins and Tannehill and Carr and Baker and Jameis, Goff might be the best one out of all those guys. No shit. You're going to get games where he plays good and bad, like Carson Wentz as well. But there's just certain guys that really stand out to me. And I'll take Goff. I will take Goff on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If they decide to move on, that would be one of my main targets I would be going for. I think I could win with Goff. I think I could win a playoff game with Goff. I think it's, he's not as bad as a Jimmy G or a Baker. He can make plays. You just need to be able to coach him up. You know what I mean? You just need to help him and give him the proper talent. And look what he did with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now Amon-Ra St. Brown looks like he'll be probably the 6th wide receiver taken in fantasy moving forward. It'll be, Justin Jefferson. We'll go Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Might be picked over Mike Evans or Keenan Allen or those guys. That's saying something because of this guy right here and this guy and their team. So I'm really rooting for the Lions and the Jags and the Jets to do some big things. But shout out. Another guy, Dougie P. I just thought you would be like Lovie Smith. I wasn't really expecting anything from you. And you're doing well. And the development from Trevor Lawrence is great. But remember, Trevor Lawrence in Pop Warner high school never lost a game. He hasn't been used to losing besides being in the pros. But he's learning. And I think he will end up being one of the top 12 quarterbacks in this league. Trevor Lawrence. Sean McDermott, great. You already know what you're going to get there. Still a lack of a running game. That concerns me, and that might be the thing that holds them back if they can't get past one team that has been their kryptonite, and you know who it is. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. And then obviously with the Seahawks, like I said, I picked up Geno in fantasy. So again, I wouldn't do that, unless I really believed in him. But shout out to Pete Carroll and shout out to Geno. 17th year at head coach for Pete Carroll. How many more years has he got? We don't know, but I've been impressed in what they've done. Matt LaFleur. So with Matt LaFleur, obviously with the Packers, you lost Nathaniel Hackett, your OC. You don't have Devontae Adams anymore, so it's kind of like a learning curve, but he always wins games. You can always count on the Packers winning 10 to 13 to 14 games, and that's probably not going to change as long as Aaron Rodgers is there, even when they lose pieces. LaFleur is one of the best coaches in the league. I don't like the Packers or LaFleur or Rodgers, but I can't hate on them. They got the pieces in place to be successful. It just depends on what they do with Aaron Rodgers post Aaron Rodgers, and that's facts. Michael in the building. How are you? Let's see here. Next up, we'll go Kyle Shanahan. Get a Kyle Shanahan photo. Got to get him up. I mean, this is one of my top 3 coaches in the league for being young. Him and Sean McVay are the smartest young coaches. If you ever hear them talk in interviews, you can spout off a play in a game that happened like 4 years ago, and they know exactly who caught the touchdown pass. And these guys are crazy. And they were all lined up. LaFleur, Kyle Shanahan, and Sean McVay in Washington. By God, how do you not land one of those 3 for your organization? So it shows you that Washington football team, Washington Redskins, Washington Commandos, I mean, you have an abundance of talent, and all 3 of those guys are 1,000 times better than Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera had some great success with the Panthers, but I would take any of those 3 over Ron at this point in Ron's career. I mean, Ron's kind of old now. But I do root for Ron, because he obviously is Latino and Mexican American, and it's good to have that representation in the NFL. And he battled cancer, so I'm always loving that. But I'm just saying, as far as not like bringing up his Mexican American heritage, and nothing like that, but just coaching wise, those other guys are much, much better at this point, and maybe overall. Let's see here. But out of all the coaches in the NFL that are young, this is my favorite right here. Kyle Shanahan, you got into Super Bowls with Matt Ryan and Jimmy G. You faced Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. It's tough. You find a way to get to big games. You just need to figure out how to score points in the fourth quarter and have a better quarterback than you've had. You're better than Matt Ryan, and then better – and Matt Ryan is borderline Hall of Fame, and Jimmy G is like a game manager, but you need to have someone that can come back in the fourth quarter. And like I said, once they get that, I know Kyle Shanahan will win a Super Bowl in San Francisco or somewhere else before he's done coaching. He's too good. Mike is his dad. Mike won in Denver twice. This is one of the most educated, smartest, brightest minds in the game with Sean McVay. And with him, he can always find the mismatch and give you crazy plays, just like another guy that we've seen on tap right now that looks like he might be the best play caller this year in Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid. You're seeing some of these play calls that they're coming in with Mahomes and the trickery that we're seeing when them, spin moves and little underhand passes. What's next? Blindfolded behind the back. Nothing will surprise me out of this team, right? They got such a good connection. And I know the Buffalo Bills, everyone's on them, but I think this team is better, especially with the Bills, with the injuries they've had. Now, if the Bills were fully healthy on defense, it's the Buffalo Bills. But if the Buffalo Bills have half their starters injured on defense, I can take this offense and defense, even though the defense isn't as good as the Bills, I can take this offense and I know I can compete with Josh Allen and maybe even sometimes beat them. And every once in a while, you'll get some big plays here too. So definitely exciting to see where it goes. But, minds like this, and I told you guys years ago that I thought that Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan would win Super Bowls easily within the next 5 years. And then, fast forward now to last year, Sean McVay already won. He's already been there twice. Kyle Shanahan, it's his turn at some point. But he is my favorite young coach in the NFL, Kyle Shanahan. Offensive guru, mastermind. Next up will be John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh obviously is going to have his job saved pretty much from Lamar. As long as Lamar is going to be running for 200 yards a game and throwing for 300, Harbaugh is always consistent. He's made the playoffs in 9 of his 14 seasons, so I know that he's going to be there again. And if Lamar leaves, then that will give them an opportunity to maybe look for a different direction if they start losing. But I definitely think that Harbaugh will keep the job, and he's a pretty good coach. Jim, obviously, his brother is at Michigan, so we'll see how that goes for the future if he stays there. But I do like John, most of the time. But they do need to do more on the offensive line, the more at the running back position, because J.K. Dobbins and the rest of the guys, Gus Edwards, they can't stay healthy, and they need defense. Next up, Mike Tomlin has had a winning record every year, maybe besides this year. Kenny Pickett's going to be starting. T.J. Watt is injured, so it looks like at this point that Tomlin is and he, if he gets fired, that's going to be my number one choice. If they decide to fire Bowles at some point, I would want Mike Tomlin because he used to be a secondary coach for me back in the day with, Tony Dungy. So with the Tony Dungy, coaching tree with Gruden back in those days, the Tony Dungy tree had Mike Tomlin. So, I don't know if I ever see them getting rid of Tomlin, but if it doesn't work out with Trubisky, doesn't work out with Pickett, and for whatever reason they want to start over, this would be my number one choice because I'm not going to get Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay. Get a guy, not only of color, but, he's as far as the brother coaches, we need more of them. Why the hell do we not have more of them out in the league? And he might be maybe the best, like one of the best. His discipline, everything that he's about, he seems like so real. And like I said, I think he's a big advocate on getting more brother coaches to get head coaching jobs and OC jobs, and I think like he's kind of like a pioneer in the game because you're like, oh, wow, look at Tomlin. You know what I mean? He hasn't had a losing season in 16 years. That's crazy. Consistency. It doesn't matter to me if it's white, black, Mexican, or Asian. That's greatness, The only coach. But the Steelers have a lot of prestige too, The Steelers are like a higher-end Cowboys. Cowboys get that same kind of attention. The Steelers, though, typically back it up with wins and Super Bowls as of late. Yeah, but definitely a pioneer in the game on getting more people of color, black, African-American, Asian, Mexican jobs. And I like that. Some more diversity in the NFL is great. And then next up is Sean McVay, one of the best coaches in the league. Just like Kyle Shanahan, this guy's memory might be even stronger than Kyle Shanahan. If you see this guy in interviews, he creeps me out. He might be a fucking alien, and he's got the intensity. He's not going to win every game, but I like everything about him when I noticed him at Washington with LaFleur. And like I said, you got 3 coaches that all have an opportunity on bringing their teams to NFC championship games. And how often can you say that Washington let 3 elite head coaches go? It's like almost like unbelievable. But he just needed that better quarterback in his eyes. I honestly think they could have won it with Goff. He just wanted to get Stafford because he was available and he was better at the time. And he knew that Stafford's time was running out. And if everything clicked with Aaron Donald, and then they had to pick up OBJ and obviously Von Miller. If that didn't happen, there's no Super Bowl for the Rams. OBJ and Von Miller were the X factors in that run. Cooper Kupp and obviously Matthew Stafford got him there, but they needed those extra X factors to get them over the top. And these are, Shanahan and obviously McVay have been my two favorite for a long time. Ever since I learned about Mike Shanahan and his son, I fell in love with his style and his energy and, just his dedication to doing like film study. Like, it's like this is a guy I could be friends with. Like, I could just sit there and just talk film with him and just watch film and just be like in heaven. You know what I mean? Like, he loves to break down film like me. And same thing with Sean McVay. And if you have that type of work ethic where you love reading about the NFL, all the teams and playbooks and defenses. And, most people are playing football and they're playing checkers while these guys are playing chess, and it shows. And like I said, they've, one has won the Super Bowl. This one's gone to 2, just fought Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. There will be another chance, but maybe you need to bring a guy like Tom Brady there. It's got to be someone better than a Matt Ryan that you had in the Falcons and someone better than Jimmy G and Trey Lance. I mean, we don't know if he can stay healthy or not. You pretty much went for and sold the farm, but your team is so good and deep that even though you sold the farm, even if Trey Lance is a bust, it's not going to kill the team. This team might win the NFC West this year. So the organization is run so good. They are the AFC equivalent of the Chiefs. You're never going to see the Niners or Chiefs really fall off ever. At the very least, 500, but most of the time in the playoff hunt, because you got John Lynch, you got Kyle Shanahan, and then also, you got those top guys, doing those big things for you. It's big. Shout out to McVay and Shanahan. I like talking about coaches. We don't usually do that enough. All right. Bill Belichick, obviously we know is recognized as the GOAT in most circles, right? But the cheating. So, I mean, I know how great you are, but you don't know how to evaluate offensive wide receivers. You're a defensive guy. Guys have not panned out. Everyone gets hurt. Now Josh McDaniels is gone. You didn't get your team better in position. And pretty soon we're going to see the Patriots in 3rd or 4th place instead of in 1st or 2nd. Miami needs to figure out the Tua, and maybe this concussion is like a big master plan because they want Lamar to come. Kind of a fucked up thing to think of, that maybe they were trying to sabotage Tua, knowing that maybe he was banged up and maybe would get another concussion. But you don't ever want to think that, or maybe Tua is just injury prone and concussion prone anyways. But I really feel that Lamar, Tyreek, Waddle, that's maybe is what's going to happen. If I'm Lamar, I leave the Ravens and I go to Miami, because if you go there, you can make an AFC championship game and we might see the best version of Lamar yet with Waddle, Tyreek. Build up that offensive line, McDaniel calling plays. That sounds pretty dangerous to me. And they got Javon Holland, safety. Then, you got Xavier and Howard. You got really good pieces at safety and corner. You just need to keep building. They're going to have a lot of draft picks like the Eagles. So like the equivalent of the Eagles on the AFC could be the Dolphins if they get Lamar and they move on from Tua. But with Belichick, like I said, I know he's great at defense, but he's a cheater. So it's always going to be an asterisk, just like Barry Bonds, just like the Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa, unfortunately. So, and then last but not least, Andy Reid. Okay. And put up Shanahan for now. And Andy Reid is my favorite coach that obviously that is not coaching my team that's not young. As far as Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay are the 2 best young coaches. The best veteran coach that's coaching today is Andy Reid. Andy Reid can win a championship. He's a player's coach. He went to 4 NFC championship games against the Eagles and lost them all. There's a lot of heartbreak. And then finally to overcome, and now you got the best wide receiver, best tight end. Could have had top 5, wide receiver, maybe top 2 still. Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson are coming. But if you stay on this team, Tyreek, you could be there with Cooper Kupp at the very top, So it's unfortunate that he went for the money, but it might work out for Tyreek in the long haul, because if they get Lamar Jackson, he's not going to feel bad leaving Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey probably feel like that was a dick move, but he wanted to party. He wanted to be in Miami with the girls, and Jalen Waddle's there. Miami, they don't believe in Tua. They all say they believe in Tua. They don't, right? But Lamar Jackson is the hidden thing. That's what they want. And if they, they don't even have to offer Lamar the most money. They can give him less money, and I think he might take it and just be like, you know what? You offer me max here, Ravens, but I'm going to take less if that's what has to happen for them to get another quality big free agent. And maybe he'll take a little less and then boom. But Lamar is due this money, so I imagine he'll get as much as he can, but maybe willing to take like 10 or 20 million less than another team just to join the Dolphins, because that's where I would go. It's just that the owner is not very good with Ross, right? And then obviously the Flores situation. But I do like Mike McDaniel. So you just can't treat, you got to make sure the concussion thing is under control. But if you do lock in Tua, that could be really special. And then we could see some battles, from locking Tua in the lineup, out of the lineup, Lamar obviously coming in, and who knows what could happen, because I'm not sure if you could win a Super Bowl with Lamar on Miami, but I think you could get to an AFC championship game, and then we could see from there. But this guy right here, Andy Reid, the Buffalo Bills, have a kryptonite, and it's him, right? And we know it. And they don't even have Tyreek, but what's the craziest thing? The offense is better without Tyreek there, because now instead of the football going to just Tyreek and this guy with an occasional Clyde Edwards-Helaire and some of the other running game, Kelsey's getting looks, but everyone, even the no-namers, are getting looks. And that's going to end up helping them maybe win a championship or get to an AFC championship game against the Bills. And if it happens, like I said, right now, the Bills and Chiefs look like the two best teams in the NFL. And I like the Chiefs number one. Right now, to me, they are the best team in football, even though they still have some holes on the offensive line. And yeah, they got some holes on the defense. You know what I mean? I get it. And obviously Tyreek isn't there, but Mahomes is playing great. And he might have a wall like he did last year, but this is the best young quarterback in the league. Some people want to say it's Josh Allen, but it's not. It's Patrick Mahomes. It always was, and it always will be. Josh Allen will be great, and he'll win a Super Bowl, but he won't be better than Patrick Mahomes overall, in my opinion. I just think I can count on Mahomes more. And there's going to be games where Allen outperforms Mahomes and throws for 450 and maybe even rushes for 100. I get it, but I'm just looking at overall skill set and knowledge of the game and just someone that I can count on that I think is the best. Mahomes edges out Allen, but Allen is coming. Just like Burrow and Herbert, if they can stay healthy, they're going to get there close too. And once Rodgers and Brady and all the other GOATs retire, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes, right? Josh Allen, Herbert, and Burrow. Those are going to be the top four, and then whoever else decides to join the party. But I'm really impressed with Andy Reid and the job that he's doing without Tyreek, getting everybody involved. And to me right now, no bias, this is the best team in football. Record-wise, it might not say that, but I think that right now the play calling is a 10 out of 10, right? They're giving you something crazy every game. The coaching is 10 for 10. And you're handling the Tyreek thing better than anyone ever anticipated. And the offense is running smoother now because you don't know who's getting it. MVS, okay, is Juju getting it? Is Pacheco getting it? Is Fortson getting it? Like, you even got these lower name guys, second, third string, tight ends, Gray. Like, who the hell is this guy? But Mahomes can find him in the end zone, and I like that. So it's going to be exciting to see where it goes. But just to do a quick review of the coaches and things that I've been impressed with. This is the biggest disappointment, going from OC, MVP for Rodgers. It's a brand new system. Russ looks injured. I think they will be able to pick it up in 3 to 4 years, but will you still be there in 3 to 4 years? They might fire you in year 2 if you don't pick it up. Offensive line is underwhelmed. Defense has been bad. And obviously the Denver Broncos haven't got what they thought they were going to get out of Russ right away. Losing to the Seahawks week 1 was not good. And now you got Javonte Williams out for the year. It's going to be very, very tough for the Broncos moving forward. And then we talked about Dable. The success is not really Dable, it's Saquon Barkley. And then the Eagles. Obviously, this is the coach of the year at this point, 4-0. A lot of the younger Eagle fans weren't on Jalen, and I told them I think that this could be Dak 2.0. Now, with a 4-0 record, everyone's on Jalen. There's no point of trying to get Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. What you need to do is get the best 2 offensive linemen in the first round from Alabama and Georgia and get like a best guard, best tackle, and then beef up that O-line. And like I said, you guys might be able to make an NFC championship game this year. There could be a Super Bowl this year. I think that I knew you were going to win the division this year, and I thought, NFC championship game within 3 to 5 years. But, the way that they're playing, obviously, once you get a first place schedule, it gets difficult the following year, depending on how good you do, going from like a last place or a third place or a second place. But I like what I'm seeing with Sirianni. Great job. And they look like a team that will be in the NFC championship game at some point. So, and then we got Dan Campbell. Obviously, Dan Campbell. He's the guy that is probably the realest guy in the NFL. He looks like a football coach from Pop Warner, or college, right? Or high school. And like I said, I'm rooting for him. I watched Hard Knocks and biting kneecaps and all. I like what I see from this guy. And Jared Goff is a lot better than people are giving him credit for. He's making Amon-Ra St. Brown looking like he's the 6th best wide receiver in the league. You got, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Tyreek the Freak Hill, and Amon-Ra St. Brown might be the 6th best wide receiver in the league. And Jared Goff and Dan Campbell are a part of that. That's awesome to be able to see. I mean, if they decide to move on from Goff, I'll take him in Tampa Bay next year. And then the former Eagle, going into Jacksonville, Dougie P doing a great job. Obviously with Trevor Lawrence, I love what I'm seeing. And, to be the worst team in the NFL 2 years in a row, it's great to see Trevor Lawrence develop. I love him. And I think he's going to be a top 12 quarterback moving forward once he figures it out. And he might be able to figure it out, this year. I mean, they're already winning more games than anticipated. And that's big facts.
You're not actually trying to hit on me right now, are you? No.
And then next up, Sean McDermott, everything's great for you guys. The only thing is the running game. And that's the one thing that always you guys don't address. You need to get your Nick Chubb, your Derrick Henry. You need to get that guy, the Josh Jacobs, who will be available. If you guys get Josh Jacobs, you can win a Super Bowl. That's the type of guy. You need to get a guy that could be a top 10 running back. And if you get a guy that could be a 3-bell cow, a 3-down back, a bell cow, a guy that can hold his own, that could be the difference between you guys getting to the Super Bowl and getting past the Chiefs or not, or winning the Super Bowl against the Rams or Bucks or not, or the Eagles or something like that. So I think they're good enough to make the AFC Championship game in the Super Bowl, but half their team is injured on defense. And if that continues to happen, they're just going to be a really good team that loses to a team that might be just slightly better because they got something like this in their back pocket. And not to mention this. And then a combo of that.
More choices, more wow, more love. Type it. Is that glitter? The bullet is when it's last leg. Find just what you need at Wayfair. You need this. You're Tony Clarkson. A whole new look for a whole lot less. Wayfair, just what I need.
The new season of Ghosts is here. The show that the folks saying things like
And then obviously Geno Smith, I picked him up in fantasy. I'm 4-0. I have Justin Herbert. I need someone I can count on. And if someone can put up 30-plus points in fantasy, I know the defenses are bad for the Seahawks and as well as, the Detroit Lions when they played each other. But it showed you that, offensively, Goff, right, he's got something that, out of all the Baker Mayfields and the Carrs and, the Jameis Winstons and the Tannehills and the Kirk Cousins, this might be the best quarterback after the elite quarterbacks. This guy might be like the 11th, 12th best quarterback in the league. And I like what I'm seeing, and that's cool. And if they decide to move on from it, that's fine. But I think if the Rams would have stuck with Goff, I think you would have been able to win a Super Bowl with him. And I wouldn't say that unless I really thought that he could. Would he put up Stafford-like numbers? Fuck no. But I think if they would have stuck with him, I think that maybe they wouldn't have made it last year. But eventually, maybe this year, after, figuring it out, and it just depends if they have the Whitworth and, you have the running game and the defense is elite, and getting OBJ and Von Miller would really, really help. I think that, he was good enough to win the Super Bowl the first time around. It's not like that the Rams scored a lot of points and the Patriots, that was that one game that was like fucking 10-7. You know what I mean? So, I think that they undervalued, but they thought, okay, if I can get Stafford, we're going to win. If we keep Goff, we might eventually win, but we need to win now to save my job. And then they got to Stafford. So, I get it, because there's no guarantee that you win with Goff, but I think you could have gotten to a Super Bowl with Goff. I think it could have happened again, and maybe they didn't want to take that chance. So I understand, but shout out to the Lions, shout out to Goff. But Goff and Geno, they showed me something. And I've rostered both in fantasy already this year. Pete Carroll doing a much better job than people, I think, originally thought after losing Russell Wilson. Then Kyle Shanahan, obviously one of my favorite coaches in the league that's young. They are the smartest, most educated, and they're the best at finding weaknesses in your defense. and it's not even close. These guys will exploit the hell out of you, and they're great play callers. This is the guy that is the OG that might get fired this year. I hope not. Might be his first losing season in 16 or 17 seasons, which is crazy. 16 seasons, never had a losing season. But now Trubisky's, they gave him the time. Pickett's the guy. The offense will be much better with Pickett, and I think they'll actually be better. Now they just need TJ Watt back. And then obviously Andy Reid finishing it up. Love him. Like I said, this is my favorite coach in the league right now. And that's as far as the older coach. He's not a Belichick. There's no controversy. He's a player's coach. People play hard for him, and he's a fucking winner. And that's facts. All right, let me check up on Paisley real quick. Damon P. Aquadio fly. Eagles fly. My boy. All right, let me check up on Paisley real quick. And then whatever else we want to get into, just type it in the chat, and I'll go from there. Obviously, I can talk coaches all day, every day. I know you guys probably didn't think I would do every coach, but why not? I like to be able to break down each team and show my knowledge. So give me 1 sec.
Tom plus feet plus Fred equals coach. Look at this. Cool, thanks.
You'll be amazed to know that the Nobel Prize, while being the most prestigious award in science, is not generally celebrated in this country. We put into fireworks, which is why I thought having a breakfast celebration was not only appropriate, but long overdue. You may have noticed that I went with Cheerios, and believe me, it was a decision that I came to after careful consideration. There were birds on the Fruit Loops, Cocoa Puffs, and corn flakes, so they were out. And leprechauns and elves are magical creatures that would be a slap in the face to the scientific community. Anyway, the festivities begin at 4:30 a.m. You're most welcome to come. As are you, unhappy bad boy.
Davey's asking for some kind of code.
Yep, that's the parental control law.
So how do I take it out?
You don't. This is my cable that I bought with my money.
You gotta be kidding.
Here's an idea. I want you to read the book.
Oh, this isn't over, little man. That's that old chap.
You know what I like about you, Sheldon? You're incredibly smart, but you're also really dumb. Why would you say that? You think people are going to come here to hang out with you? Yes. To hear about science. Yes. On the radio. Yes. At 5 o'clock in the morning. Yes. And you're asking me why you're dumb. Well, what happened to have a little more faith and curiosity with my fellows? See, you sound smart, but you're still dumb. I bet you don't even know the first thing about Sweden. You're wrong.
All right, where do we want to go? I got probably another 30 minutes because obviously my girlfriend's daughter has to get ready for school. So during school nights, I'm going to try to end it at like 11, so that way that proper sleep can be had. So we got 32 minutes, to go from there. So whatever you guys want to go over for the last 32, you let me know. We went down the coaches, which was kind of cool, and whatever you guys want to discuss, I'll leave it the stream the rest of the 32 minutes. For the rest of the stream to go, you let me know where you guys want to go with the stream, and then we'll go there. So, and then I'll just hang out with Paisley from there on. So, all right. So we got 32 minutes to go to 11 p.m. and then we'll call it a stream. So you guys, whatever direction, you have a question, you have anything you guys want to discuss, just type it in the chat and we'll go from there.
Okay, look, if you hear from him or see him, please let me know.
I got to find something to. I think I have that Mariner replay. Oh, BYU, Oregon. Well, I can watch that. All right, what's the NFL game? What's on NFL? Ooh, Vikings Saints. Oh, I'll watch that. Sweet. Viking Saints is on NFL Network right now. All right, so 30 minutes to go. I got the NFL Network on. It's early, too. It just started first quarter, 4:45 left in the first quarter. Minnesota Vikings 7, Nolans Saints 0. And then I'll hang out with Paisley. And I drafted Cousins, but I had to drop him. But at some point, I might have to pick him up. But just the way that, if I have to do a fantasy football stream at some point, I mean, like I said, me and Sarah are the last 2 teams undefeated. And, it's all about building the team and building that bench. And I got guys like Thielen on the team. I had him, I dropped him, and I picked him back up. And sometimes you have to do that. But sometimes when you drop guys, you don't get them back, depending on the league. So you got to be very careful. This was the game that was on at 6:30 a.m. So I didn't watch all of this. I watched some. Love you, Paisley. Yeah, I'm good, Michael. Just chilling. Hi, Paisley. I'm almost done, Paisley. Yeah, definitely excited for the playoffs that are going to be tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, but on Friday. But we do got Thursday night football. Let me see if I can find a graphic for that. I'm not sure what kind of game it's going to be, though. There's a lot of injuries for the Colts and the Broncos. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, like I said, Jonathan Taylor isn't playing in the game. So, I mean, at that point, I mean, I don't really know. Matt Ryan is fumbling almost every fucking play. So hopefully it ends up being like a somewhat entertaining game. But, I mean, I'm not really too sure how it's all going to play out. Preston was going to come through, but I told him it might be, might be one of those kind of just kind of boring games. But you never know. I mean, it could be an exciting game. You don't really know, but I just hope it ends up being good. There's just been so many slow games lately. And then we'll have baseball on Friday, baseball on Saturday, WWE pay-per-view on Saturday afternoon on top of the Mariners and the Blue Jay game I'll do. And then Sunday we have football. So Monday night. So it's going to continue on and on and on.
I joined Uber One for the $0 delivery fee on roasted yams, Hawaiian pizza, no calm, and my favorite, untossed jams. Uber One's actually my favorite cult. A heart attack? Do they have life insurance?
No.
But we have life insurance. John.
I'm trying to find
All right, what direction do we want to go? Type in the chat, let me know. Like I said, we got just a little bit of time left. So anything that anybody wants to see, like I said, I try to make the streams interactive for the people here. So if you want to be able to see your favorite football player, favorite wrestler, whatever it is, usually we'll get into food at the end. But, well, we did a little bit of food at the very beginning of this stream. So, but not a whole lot of news while you guys decide on what you want to do. Obviously, we know that, but this is definitely affecting Brady's play and offensive line and wide receiver weapons. That's definitely tough. Cole Beasley retired from the NFL. Tried it with the Buccaneers, but you can just tell maybe he just doesn't have it, the love for it anymore, or I'm not really too sure, but I hope that he finds peace and, he can find something to get himself into that's positive, other than football. So he decided to walk away. And I mean, other than that, then I just went over my coaches breakdown, kind of going over some of the coaches that were disappointments, and then quarterbacks that are a little bit better than people anticipate with the coaching like this. And I mean, I'm definitely going to be rooting for the Jags and the Jets and the Lions for sure. All right, so we got 9 minutes left, 10 minutes left. All right, I'm just going to throw up some random then. Last 10 minutes. Wherever I feel like going. Might be wrestling, might be football. Who knows?
Remember, one of their defensive senior assistants and Mike Patton had him in Green Bay, where they got him from, traded in his division, or signed him in his division rather. But that's dangerous. That guy can get loose and wreck a game, and that's exactly what they need from him and Daniil Hunter. For 3 years, Vikings fans couldn't stand Za'Darius Smith. So now they're not loving him. Now they're buying his jersey. Unfortunately, that's it now.
Oh, wow. What a game.
Vikings will have excellent field position as Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston will face over an injured Viking during that return and a timeout in London. 7-0 Minnesota on top of New Orleans. Wake up, football fans. It's a Sunday morning encore live from the UK. Only on NFL Network. Some of the brightest stars in the game are ready to light up. Wake up early and watch with the world. It's Sunday morning football. Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, only on NFL Network.
What will you do? Will you make something better? Create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors can provide you with the tools and expertise.
Next market watch? Numbers. Boring. For more delicious news, Carl's Jr. and Hardee's are offering Char-Grilled double deals starting at $2.99 each.
Vitamin D's Killer Beetles starting at $2.99 each at Carl's Jr. and Hardee's.
Type 2 diabetes? Discover the power of 3 in the Ozempic Trizone.
In my Ozempic Trizone, I lowered my A1C, CV risk, and lost some weight.
Ozempic provides powerful A1C reduction. In studies, the majority of people reached an A1C under 7 and maintained it. Ozempic lowers the risk of major cardiovascular events such as stroke, heart attack, or death in adults also with known heart disease. And you may lose weight. Adults lost up to 14 pounds. Ozempic isn't for people with type 1 diabetes. Don't share needles or pens or reuse needles. Don't take Ozempic if you or your family ever had medullary thyroid cancer or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2 or are allergic to it. Stop Ozempic and get medical help right away if you get a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, or an allergic reaction. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Gallbladder problems may occur. Tell your provider about vision problems or changes. Taking Ozempic with a sulfonylurea or insulin may increase low blood sugars. Side effects like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea may lead to dehydration, which may worsen kidney problems.
Join the millions already taking Ozempic. Ask your healthcare provider about the Ozempic price up.
You may pay as little as $25 for a 3-month prescription.
Stevens, face left, goes right, and dives into the salsa. Let's get down to the field for the coin toss. Doesn't get much better than this. Now that is how you bring home the snacks.
The summer scene in London has Lewis seen a rookie first-round pick of the Vikings who has been trying to work his way onto the field. Didn't get any snaps on defense last week when Harrison Smith was out. Significant leg injury for Lewis Seen. Even for the day, for sure, as we get back to action, first down 10 at the 45-yard line, and on first down, carry for Alexander Madison makes his way to the 47-yard line. Coach starts good. Bears on the Mark Sanchez. We expect to see one bit of Alexander Madison almost exclusively on third downs, but as we see, weaving in at other times as well.
They're not afraid to let him pick up some of the load here, shoulder some of the load, if you will. For this run game, he can do it all, and he's your steady hitter with singles and doubles where Cook, he can give you that home run threat around the edge, breaking off big runs.
Oh, wow. Ooh, Honey Badger with the pick.
It's a little greedy. He makes the right read, but just a second or two late. They're going to have an out route. They're going to have a go route. But watch the quarterback right here. Ativo jumped the flat from the inside, and there goes Tyrann Mathieu going. The Kirk Cousins has him up the sidelines. Oh, just a savvy play by Mathieu being able to cover. He's get off the hash over there. Feeling number 2, the inside receiver, making a flat-foot play.
Here's Latavius Murray, first carry in his return to the Saints. Run for the practice squad, and Murray is down to the 7-yard line, and that takes us to the end of quarter number 1. Kirk Cousins unhappy. The turnover gives it back to the Saints, who have it.
If you really want to find out what you're made of, you can forget the personality tests and social media quizzes. Because the only way you're ever going to know is by heading into the big, wild, raging, so damn beautiful it hurts world and finding out for yourself. Were you born to follow a path, or were you born free? These are the things we thought about when we made the new Grand Cherokee. You know what? Getting it the same day. So Shelby's online can get free in-store or curbside pickup right day. Or get what you need delivered the very same day you order. This is the principle of helpful hardware.
Home is where you start the day. Out the door, you're on your way. All the places you wanna go. Maybe you should take it slow. There's so much to care for in your life. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
What's your favorite part of the Kit Kat bar? The chocolate?
No, the inside.
The wafers?
No, the stuff in between the wafers. Ah, the in-between stuff.
All right, so we're just about to wrap it up. Just wanted to make sure I got to that 3 hour and 30-minute mark. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll be doing Thursday night football with the matchup. I don't really know what to expect with this, obviously with the Colts and the Broncos. I hope that it's high scoring. I hope it's, I hope there's some type of offense there with the matchup, but it could be a really slow, boring game, but I hope there's something there. And then we'll have baseball Friday, baseball Saturday for the playoffs, Mariners and Blue Jays, then the WWE pay-per-view later on that Saturday afternoon, and then Sunday football, and then Monday football. So we'll be grinding it out. I appreciate you guys very, very much. And like I said, I'll be back very, very soon, and we'll grind it out again. And I got one question for you. Who talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Appreciate you guys. Everyone that donated and supported, appreciate it. And like I said, I will be back very, very soon. The logo back up. Appreciate you guys. I love you. And I'm out. Gang.